After 30 years of a marriage devoid of companionship, I unexpectedly reincarnated. I returned to the second year of my marriage to my high-ranking husband, Gu Yuchen. At this time, Gu Yuchen brought back a pair of delicate mother and daughter who needed care. While I was 3 months pregnant, knowing what was to come, I preemptively wrote my name on the probationary registration form. Then I took the initiative to go to the hospital and terminated the pregnancy. In this life, I will no longer serve Gu Yuchen and his old lover Si Xiaoxiao without complaint or regret. I will dedicate myself to serving my country, and I wish Gu Yuchen and Si Xiaoxiao, the unfaithful couple, a lifetime of being locked together. I didn't expect Gu Yuchen to refuse to divorce me. He wanted to trap me like he did in my previous life, making me his and Si Xiaoxiao's slave. If that's the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. The winter in Beijing in December is truly freezing. The biting wind cuts through you, and water freezes instantly. A sharp pain in my hand made me look around in confusion. I found myself standing by an open well on a bitterly cold day. In front of me were 2 large basins filled with clothes that needed washing. I turned around, taking in the strange yet familiar surroundings, noticing the era-specific buildings and slogans, and for a moment, I thought I was dreaming. My gaze fell again on the bright red padded jacket in the basin in front of me. And then on a few children's clothes. I raised my hand, swollen and covered with frostbite, and looked at it. I'm certain I've been reborn. I've returned to the winter of 1981. This is my second year of marriage to my high-ranking husband, Gu Yuchen. At this very moment, I am 3 months pregnant, and the clothes in front of me serve as a reminder. At this very moment, I am washing the laundry for Gu Yuchen's beloved Si Xiaoxiao and her daughter, Little Pearl. In my past life, Si Xiaoxiao accidentally sprained her hand and couldn't move. Feeling sorry for her, Gu Yuchen arranged for me to take care of Si Xiaoxiao and her daughter. I prepared delicious meals and drinks for them every day, cleaned their house, and washed their clothes. I even gave away the sugar, fine rice, flour, and meat that I couldn't bear to eat to Si Xiaoxiao and her daughter Xiaozhen to supplement their nutrition. In my previous life, I loved Gu Yuchen deeply and treated his words as sacred commands. I always diligently fulfilled my duties as a military wife, helping others, thinking of what others think, and acting on what others need. I always thought Gu Yuchen took care of Si Xiaoxiao out of pity for her struggling as a single mother. I always thought it was a traditional virtue for military officers and their wives to do so. It wasn't until later that I found out Si Xiaoxiao's alleged hand injury was fake. She didn't want to risk getting frostbite and chilblains by washing clothes in the freezing winter, so she wanted to protect her beautiful hands. So you're taking advantage of me, this foolish, hard-working old servant, for free. Not only is Si Xiaoxiao exploiting me as a free nanny, but she also has her eye on my job. Gu Yuchen is so obedient to Si Xiaoxiao that he immediately gave her my job as soon as she needed it. Later on, Gu Yuchen got promoted for his achievements. Si Xiaoxiao coveted the position of the commander's wife and instructed her daughter, Little Pearl, to push me, who was 6 months pregnant, causing a miscarriage that left me unable to have children again. Without a job and unable to have children, my life in that era was imaginable. I knew I wasn't worthy of Gu Yuchen, and I was afraid he would leave me, so I became even more humble. Working tirelessly like a beast of burden for him, I bore a haggard, lifeless face. A stark contrast to Si Xiaoxiao's rosy cheeks and radiant smile. Gu Yuchen naturally grew more and more displeased with me, and wanting to avoid the sight of me, he sent me back to the countryside to take care of his parents. Ostensibly, it was to fulfill my duties and allow him to serve the country with peace of mind. In my previous life, I felt deeply apologetic toward Gu Yuchen and was immensely grateful to him, diligently taking care of his parents, because I couldn't have children. His parents constantly berated and blamed me, while Gu Yuchen, free from the burden of me, thrived in Beijing with Si Xiaoxiao, living a life of bliss. For 30 years, I dutifully and tirelessly took care of Gu Yuchen's parents at home. It wasn't until my in-laws passed away that I went to Beijing to find Gu Yuchen, only to discover that he and Si Xiaoxiao were claiming to be husband and wife outside. And that's when I realized how ridiculous my life had been. After confirming my return, I kicked over the basin in front of me filled with Si Xiaoxiao and her son's clothes. Whoever wants to wash these clothes can wash them, but I'm done with it. I strode back to the place I shared with Gu Yuchen, and as I returned, the door next to ours opened. Si Xiaoxiao poked her head out from the warm room, giving me a fake smile. Xiaoli's back. Did you finish washing the clothes? I glanced at Si Xiaoxiao's fake, disgusting face and slammed the door shut. I bolted the door and rushed to the bedroom, crouching down to pull out a box from under the bed. Inside the box were the meat, grain, and cloth ration tickets, along with some cash. that my husband Gu Yuchen and I had saved over the past 2 years of our marriage. Some of these ration tickets and cash had already been used by Gu Yuchen to support Si Xiaoxiao and her child. Si Xiaoxiao and her child were constantly dressed in new clothes, alternating between fine rice, white flour, eggs, and meat. Growing plump and rosy, due to malnutrition, my hair was dull and I weighed only 90 pounds at a height of 5 feet 6 inches. My clothes were patched over and over until they were beyond repair before I finally discarded them. In my past life, I scrimped and saved only to benefit others. That will never happen again in this lifetime. I took out all the fabric coupons, meat coupons, grain coupons, and money from the box and put them in my pocket, then strode out the door. I'd rather give these things away to others than let Si Xiaoxiao and her mother get them on the cheap. I gave some of the cloth, meat, and grain coupons to military families in the compound who needed help. Then I took the remaining ones to the supply and marketing cooperative. I used the cloth coupons to make 4 sets of clothes for myself in a bold move. After exchanging meat coupons for 3 pounds of spare ribs, eggs, and vegetables, I went back home. As I entered the courtyard, I spotted Gu Yuchen from a distance, his figure tall and straight. He was standing with his back to me, talking to Si Xiaoxiao, who was holding her hand and teary-eyed. Seeing me, he spoke up, "Xiaoli, you're back." Gu Yuchen turned his head, looking at me with a very serious expression, and immediately began to question me. "What's wrong with you? Why are the clothes not washed and thrown on the ground outside, and you ignored Xiaoxiao when she spoke to you?" I stared fixedly at the man I had wasted over 30 years of my previous life for. At this moment, Gu Yuchen was still young, his features undeniably handsome, and in my previous life, I was absolutely infatuated with his face. Once I swore to go through fire and water for him without hesitation, but after experiencing life and death, seeing this face that once captivated me no longer stirs any intense love or passion. All that rises in my heart is disgust and hatred. Seeing me staring at him without speaking, Gu Yuchen frowned and sternly demanded, "Why aren't you speaking? I'm asking you a question." Seeing Gu Yuchen's hostile attitude towards me, Si Xiaoxiao's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. She cooed, "Xiaoli, did I do something wrong? Are you upset with me? If so, just tell me directly, and I'll change." In her previous life, young Xiaoli was naive and mute, never defending herself, allowing the eloquent Si Xiaoxiao to frame her and pin the blame on her. But this time around, young Xiaoli wouldn't be so foolish. I watched as the others living in the compound gradually returned from work, raising their voices. "Comrade Xiaoxiao, it's all my fault that you hurt your hand and can't do laundry or housework. I truly want to help you wash your clothes, cook your meals, and tidy up your home. But my body just can't handle it." As I raised my voice and shouted, everyone returning from work stopped in their tracks and looked at us. Gu Yuchen felt the eyes of the crowd and tried to stop me, but I ignored him and continued, raising my voice even more. "I just fainted while washing your clothes, and lay on the ground for a long time with no one caring. I'm pregnant, and at this rate, not only the baby in my belly, but I might not be able to hold on either." Hearing me say this, Gu Yuchen finally remembered I was pregnant. "Why aren't you resting since you're pregnant?" "I would like to rest, but weren't you worried about Comrade Xiaoxiao's hand injury and unable to take care of herself, so you asked me to help her? These days, since Comrade Xiaoxiao can't use her hands, all the housework has fallen on me. It's all my fault. How could my body be so weak? It's all my fault." I stood there, full of self-blame, loudly apologizing and admitting my mistakes. And the neighbors around me gathered over. Li's wife looked at me with concern and spoke first. "Xiaoli, this silly girl, pregnant and washing clothes for others on such a cold day, what can I say to her?" Zhao's mother chimed in, "Exactly, other women are carefully tended to when they're pregnant, but you don't take care of yourself and even work for others. Aren't you afraid of hurting the baby in your belly?" "I'm just worried about Comrade C. She's injured and has a child to take care of. Life isn't easy for her. You should take care of yourself. Look at how thin you've become. Don't you know that pregnant women need rest and proper nutrition?" Zhao Wenchu's mother finished speaking and gave Si Xiaoxiao a disdainful look. "Raised fat and healthy, and her hands are fine too, right? Besides, why should someone else do your own work? It's laughable. Isn't it just because Xiaoli is naive and easy to bully?" Si Xiaoxiao was red-faced and in tears, stomping her feet and covering her face as she ran back into the house. Seeing this, Gu Yuchen felt heartbroken and glared at me before chasing after her. Seeing this, Zhao Wenchu's mother spat in disgust. "Sly fox, disgraceful thing." The wife of the instructor also sneered, pretending in front of so many people. "TSK, what a shame she doesn't go into acting." I asked with a simple and honest expression. Comrade C is different from us. She's from the city and can't bear the slightest grievance, I spit. She's only fooling you, you naive girl, I say. Shelly, don't you have any thoughts at all with all this hard work and patience? What do you think? If you keep being so naive, your man will be snatched away, I gasped, covering my mouth. This can't be possible, right? It's hard to say. You need to keep a close eye on your Yu Chen, and don't let that seductress take him away. No way, no way, they're just friends. Yu Chen just feels sorry for her since she doesn't have a husband. He only wanted to help Comrade C, which is why he gave the meat, grain, and cloth coupons from his home to Comrade C and her daughter. He also gives Comrade C 50 yuan every month. What? The wives of the political instructor and the clerk both widened their eyes in shock. I innocently and naively spilled the beans about how Gu Yuchen was helping Si Xiaoxiao and her daughter to the clerk's mother and the political instructor's wife. The clerk's mother and the political instructor's wife looked at me as if I were an alien, with eyes full of sympathy. He shook his head. Based on my knowledge of these two, it won't be long before the news of Gu Yuchen and Si Xiaoxiao's affair spreads throughout the entire compound. After venting my grievances, I went home relieved. Planning to cook spare ribs and steamed eggs to nourish my body, dinner was quickly prepared, and I devoured 2 large bowls of rice with spare rib soup and steamed eggs. I feel much more energetic. After eating and drinking my fill, I cleaned up the dishes and pots, went back to my room, and lay down to think about what comes next. According to the timeline, it's almost time for my job confirmation from my previous life. In my previous life, the job confirmation form I received was filled out with Si Xiaoxiao's name by Gu Yuchen, who claimed that she needed the job more than I did. Si Xiaoxiao has taken my place as a full-time employee, and will now be with Gu Yuchen, loving and supporting each other for a lifetime. I'm not foolish enough to give my own job to Si Xiaoxiao in this lifetime, since Gu Yuchen cares so much for Si Xiaoxiao and wants to take care of her and her daughter for life. Then I'll fulfill his wish. I'll terminate the pregnancy and divorce Gu Yuchen. I lay in bed, planning to fall asleep soon, but I had no idea when Gu Yuchen came back. In the morning, I got up and found Gu Yuchen making breakfast in the kitchen, which was quite unusual. Seeing me come out, he placed the breakfast on the dining table. He called out to me, "Shelly, breakfast is ready." I walked over to the dining table and sat down. Gu Yuchen handed me a pair of chopsticks. "Shelly, do we still have some grain, meat, and cloth coupons at home? Get some out right away to send to Si Xiaoxiao. It's too cold in winter, and their mother and daughter are wearing thin clothes. They'll freeze." Si Xiaoxiao and her mother's clothes are all brand new, and they have several sets to rotate through. The cotton-padded jacket I'm wearing was made for our wedding, and it's the only one I have. It hasn't been replaced in 2 years, yet Gu Yuchen pretends not to notice. He really treats Si Xiaoxiao and her mother very well. I felt a pang of sadness, lowering my head to sip my porridge without speaking. Gu Yuchen took my silence as agreement and continued, "By the way, Xiaoxiao's daughter is at an age where she's growing, so she can't go hungry. You should give them all the meat coupons." This remark finally made me snap. There are no cloth coupons or meat coupons left. How could there be none? Gu Yuchen frowned at me, speaking with a tone of earnest concern. "Shelly, as a military family member, you should prioritize the people, be concerned with their needs, and think about what they think." I took a sip of porridge, set down the bowl, and slowly asked him, "What you mean by helping the people? Does that mean helping everyone in need, or just Comrade C?" Gu Yuchen's face froze. He never dreamed that someone as reserved as me would say such a thing. I pretended not to notice the awkwardness on his face and counted on my fingers. The Wu family in the West is in a very difficult situation, with 3 children, no clothes to wear, and barefoot in the freezing winter. It's so pitiful. As a military wife, I absolutely cannot stand by and watch them suffer like that, so I gave them all my cloth ration coupons to buy clothes. Oh, and the He family in the South has a sick elderly mother, a household of 6 or 7 people, and I heard they haven't had meat for days. They're all as thin as bamboo poles. They are the ones who need help the most. I'll send them my meat ration coupons right away. Gu Yuchen's face turned ashen, looking as if he had just swallowed something disgusting. Isn't he always talking about helping Si Xiaoxiao and her mother as if it's helping the masses? I'll show him who the real people in need are. After being put on the spot like that, Gu Yuchen had nothing to say and felt embarrassed, so he left for the military base after breakfast. I tidied up and went out as well. According to the timeline of my previous life, today is the day I received my formal employment notice. I arrived at the unit, and the leader, as if it were my previous life, handed out the probation application forms. In my previous life, after receiving the application form, I happily went home to show it to Gu Yuchen and discussed how to fill it out with him. Then, Gu Yuchen casually handed the job over to Si Xiaoxiao. I naturally wouldn't do something so foolish in this lifetime. I carefully wrote my name on the application form. After filling out the application form, I looked at the registration form for applying to work in the Great Northern Wilderness that the leader had distributed. I wrote my name on it and handed it to the leader. The leader was surprised. Why would you want to go to the Great Northern Wilderness? Your family's Gu Yingzhang. No, he's about to become Gu Shouzhang. Did he agree to you going? This is my decision. I am now wholeheartedly wanting to serve my country, and as a soldier, Gu Yuchen will definitely support my decision. You and your spouse are amazing. The leader gave me a thumbs up and took the application form. Before leaving, the leader told me that if I was confirmed to go to the Great Northern Wilderness, then I would have to leave by the 5th of next month. I glanced at the time. There are still more than 20 days left. I still have plenty of time to prepare. On my way home from work in the afternoon, I ran into several neighbors who were all curiously asking about Gu Yuchen and Si Xiaoxiao. 3 women make a drama, and everyone looked at me with sympathy, all subtly condemning Si Xiaoxiao for being shameless. It seems that the coach's wife and the clerk's mother spread the news. I have helped all my neighbors in this compound, and everyone sympathizes with me, standing firmly on my side. They said Si Xiaoxiao was shameless and bullying, and they suggested I report her for disrupting a military marriage. I didn't plan to do that. Although I hate Si Xiaoxiao and Gu Yuchen for being shameless, I don't want to seek revenge on them. I'm willing to divorce and let them be, as long as they don't go too far. I was thinking about it when a neighbor unexpectedly shared some news with me. During the day, Si Xiaoxiao went to the hospital to see Dr. Wang Tingting from the gynecology department. And they stayed behind closed doors for a long time. The neighbor suggested that Si Xiaoxiao might be pregnant, which is why she went to the gynecology department, and advised me to be cautious. My face remained calm, but my heart was icy cold. I knew what Si Xiaoxiao was up to at the hospital. With Gu Yuchen's promotion, she was planning to harm me and the child in my womb, just like she did in my previous life. Since Si Xiaoxiao refuses to repent, don't blame me. I strode quickly towards home. And sure enough, I saw Si Xiaoxiao at the door. Si Xiaoxiao's gaze at me was filled with venom. As soon as I opened the door, she followed me into my house. After closing the door and making sure no one else was around, she dropped the act. Yang Shaoli, you did this on purpose, didn't you? I grinned. I don't know what you're talking about. You're still pretending. Last night, you deliberately spoke that way in the courtyard, and behind my back. You spread rumors about me to Zhao Wenshu's mother and Li Jidao's wife, ruining my reputation and Yu Chen's. You're utterly unreasonable. Ruin your reputation. What good reputation do you have? I looked at Si Xiaoxiao with confusion. You, a widow whose husband is dead, following a married man around all day, flirting with him, eating his food, taking his possessions, and clinging to him day and night. Is this something a person with any self-respect would do? You. Never did I expect that the usually tongue-tied me would counter with such words, leaving Si Xiaoxiao stunned and momentarily speechless. I sneered at her. Stop pretending. I know what you're really like. Aren't you just relying on that past connection with Gu Yuchen to scam and manipulate him? If you really cared for Gu Yuchen, would you have dumped him for another man back then? Si Xiaoxiao's face turned a deep shade of purple as I hit the nail on the head. Yang Shaoli. So you're really like this, pretending to be innocent and pitiful, huh? I underestimated you, I retorted. Compared to you, I'm just a small fry. I've never spoken to her so harshly face to face before, and Si Xiaoxiao couldn't bear it at all. Look at your tacky appearance. If it weren't for me leaving, do you really think Yu Chen would have married you? He only married you out of necessity, just to find a compliant servant. He doesn't love you at all. What good is it if Yu Chen loves you? You're still as hidden as a rat in the gutter, sneaking around with him like a mistress. If you got the guts, make him divorce me and marry you. Si Xiaoxiao's face turned as red as if she had opened a paint shop after my scolding. Think you can do whatever you want just because you're pregnant, today. I'm going to show you what I'm made of. Let me tell you, Yang Shaoli, even if I killed a child in your womb right now, Yu Chen won't feel a shred of pity for you. This is the truth. After all, it did happen in my previous life. In my previous life, it was Si Xiaoxiao who instructed her daughter to push me. Is she going to do it herself this time? Rather than choosing a day, it's better to do it today. I'll keep pushing Si Xiaoxiao's buttons with my cold jokes. Oh, what a touching love story, huh? Are you sure you really love Gu Yuchen? Or are you just using him as a backup plan, now that the man you were so devoted to is dead and reduced to ashes, and seeing Gu Yuchen rising to power and about to get promoted, you have the nerve to come crawling back? Anyone can see what you're up to. You just want to hook up with Gu Yuchen, don't you? since you've already hooked up with Gu Yuchen, what's the point of pretending? Wanting to be a whore and still wanting to set up a. Si Xiaoxiao looked at me as if she had seen a ghost. I'm honest and kind, never speaking ill of others. Such blatant exposure of her dark and sordid nature pushed Si Xiaoxiao to the brink of fury. Si Xiaoxiao, her true intentions exposed, charged at me with a twisted face, screaming, Yang Xiaoli, are you asking for it? Watch me kill you today. Prepared in advance, I met Si Xiaoxiao's charge with a fierce kick without flinching. Si Xiaoxiao's sole focus was on my stomach. Her intentions were written all over her face. She wanted to kill my unborn child. Si Xiaoxiao wasn't expecting me to kick her, and I delivered a solid kick. Having done hard labor for years, I'm no weakling. Si Xiaoxiao, who never lifted a finger for housework, was no match for me. Si Xiaoxiao let out a cry of pain and fell down with a thud. I watched Si Xiaoxiao, who had fallen face first into the mud, with a cold smile on her face, then threw myself to the ground. Letting out a heart-wrenching wail, help, Si Xiaoxiao is hitting me, my stomach hurts so much. My voice was incredibly loud, and with my cries, the neighbors in the courtyard all came running out, seeing me lying on the ground, clutching my stomach and screaming in agony. Li's wife was the first to rush over to me, followed by Zhao's mother. What's going on? Si Xiaoxiao hit me, my stomach, oh, it hurts so much. I continued to cry out, clutching my stomach. Over there. Si Xiaoxiao got up. Disoriented, after I kicked her down and her nose hit the table, blood gushed from my nose. Impossible to stop. When I said she hit me, Si Xiaoxiao tried to defend herself. It wasn't me. It was Yang Xiaoli who, before she could finish, Zhao Wenshu's mother pushed her aside. Li Jidao's wife took the opportunity to kick Si Xiaoxiao, knocking her to the ground again. She cried out in pain, but there was no one here who cared about her. Si Xiaoxiao's cries of pain had no effect. All she wanted was to please Gu Yuchen, performing for him while looking down on the other residents of the compound. But I'm different. I'm a good-natured person who never plays both sides. I've helped many people in the compound, and now they all rush to protect me. A few family members who had always disliked her stepped over Si Xiaoxiao to rush over and help me. Quick, someone take Xiaoli to the hospital. She's pregnant. What if something happens to the baby? Just as Zhao Wenshu returned from a mission, he immediately stopped the car and helped me into it. As the car left the courtyard, I glanced at Si Xiaoxiao through the window. She was covered in blood, her face blank as she stared in the direction I had left. Si Xiaoxiao probably never dreamed that the quiet, reserved me would fight back so fiercely. After all, it was always her, Si Xiaoxiao, who would resort to such slander and take the lead. She used her sharp tongue to slander me in front of Gu Yuchen, conspiring with her daughter, Little Pearl, to trip me up, as she and Xiaozhen laughed gleefully in the corner while I was scolded by Gu Yuchen. In Si Xiaoxiao's mind, I was an utterly foolish and hopeless person. Dealing with someone like me didn't require much effort on her part. That's why she was bewildered and couldn't understand why I suddenly fought back like a completely different person. I twitched my lips, coldly smiling to myself. This is just the beginning. The injustices I suffered in my past life, I will reclaim them one by one in this one. After being sent to the hospital, I was quickly taken to the gynecology examination room. The doctor who examined me was the same one who performed my surgery in my past life. Wang Tingting is Si Xiaoxiao's cousin. Si Xiaoxiao met with Wang Tingting in private for a long time during the day. I know they must be plotting against me. Wang Tingting quickly examined me and concluded that I had injured my body, and that the baby was about to miscarry, necessitating immediate surgery. I was also told that my uterus and fallopian tubes had suffered varying degrees of damage, and they might need to be removed. The people who brought me here didn't understand anything. Whatever Wang Tingting said went. I was wheeled into the operating room, and Wang Tingting was preparing for the surgery, tears streaming down my face. The old lady of Commander Zhao and the wife of Battalion Commander Li stayed by my side, comforting me. Both of them genuinely felt sorry for me. Xiaoli, you're still young. This was an accident. You'll have more children in the future. I grabbed the hand of Director Li's wife and whispered, Sister Li, could you please help me call Director Xing? Make sure to get Director Xing to come here right away. Director Xing is the hospital's leading gynecologist. When Sister Li heard me specifically asking for Director Xing, she was momentarily stunned, then she snapped back to reality. Xiaoli, wait here, I'll go get Director Xing right now. Sister Li went to find Director Xing, while Wang Tingting wasted no time pushing me into the operating room. She operated on me as if it were a past life, and I could feel my child slipping away. The pain persisted, and I saw the cold, ruthless look in Wang Tingting's eyes. Just as she raised the scalpel to cut my fallopian tubes, the door of the operating room was pushed open, and Li's wife arrived in a hurry with Director Xing. Director Jing sternly stopped Wang Tingting. Stop immediately, let me check. Director Jing was a seasoned gynecology expert, and Wang Tingting's skills were no match for her. Feeling guilty, Wang Tingting couldn't even hold the scalpel steady when she saw Director Jing. I tearfully told Director Jing that Wang Tingting wanted to remove my uterus and fallopian tubes. Director Jing's face turned as black as a pot bottom. Aren't the uterus and fallopian tubes fine? Why would you want to remove them? How do you even serve as the lead surgeon? Director Jing couldn't understand Wang Tingting's actions, and as a result of this serious medical incident, Wang Tingting was suspended and under investigation. I was sent back to the ward, lying in bed, and tears streamed down my face, unable to control my tears. In both lifetimes, I couldn't keep my child. In my previous life, it was due to my inability and being schemed against by Si Xiaoxiao, and in this life, I chose to give up this child. I knew Si Xiaoxiao wouldn't let me keep this child. After all, she was waiting to step into the position of the commander's wife. The surgeon, Wang Tingting, was Si Xiaoxiao's cousin, in my previous life. She performed the surgery after I was pushed down by Si Xiaoxiao's daughter, Little Pearl. My child could have lived, and I shouldn't have become a woman who couldn't have children. It was all because of Si Xiaoxiao's vicious ambition to rise and her collusion with her cousin that my child was killed and I was left unable to bear children. In this new life, I still couldn't save my child, but I won't let Wang Tingting off the hook. Director Jing is a highly responsible and ethical good doctor. In the end, Wang Tingting was fired for a serious medical malpractice. Gu Yuchen returned 3 days later. He pushed open the door of the ward, bringing with him a chill, and I leaned against the bed, watching Gu Yuchen. His handsome face was tightly, showing no concern for me, no heartache over the loss of our child, only displeasure and annoyance. My heart gradually grew colder as I stared fixedly at Gu Yuchen, watching him close the door and approach the bedside, listening to his Shaoli. I always thought you were sensible and considerate of the bigger picture. I didn't expect I overestimated you. You're actually jealous because I'm taking care of Si Xiaoxiao, and you're going around shamelessly ruining her reputation. Do you even have any sense of responsibility as a military family member? You've really disappointed me. Disappointed, because I got his beloved woman's cousin fired and lost her job. Because of my actions, his beloved woman, Si Xiaoxiao, has become the target of public criticism. He feels heartbroken for Si Xiaoxiao being looked down upon and gossiped about. But I lost his child, didn't I? How could he not feel the slightest bit of heartache or reluctance? Gu Yuchen didn't know what was going through my mind and continued to berate me harshly. Finally, he said firmly, "This time, you're in the wrong. After you're discharged, you must go and apologize to Si Xiaoxiao and get her forgiveness." I stared intently at Gu Yuchen. The young and handsome Gu Yuchen merging with the features of the man who would rise to prominence 30 years later. Whether in my past life or this one, he never considered me at all. His heart and eyes only for Si Xiaoxiao and her mother. The answer was already known, no need to confirm it further. I spoke clearly, enunciating each word as I looked at him. You're right. I am indeed short-sighted and unqualified to be the spouse of General Gu. So, Gu Yuchen, let's get a divorce. Gu Yuchen's expression froze instantly. It seemed he couldn't believe what he had just heard. What did you say? Divorce? Yes, I want a divorce. Let's file for divorce right now. It was me who said the words divorce, and Gu Yuchen clearly became flustered. Shaoli, what do you mean? Why would we get a divorce when everything is fine between us? Are things really fine between us? Are you sure? I couldn't help but laugh. It's been 5 years since we met and got married, in all that time. Have you ever cared about me? Do you know what I think or need? Gu Yuchen fell silent. He didn't know how to respond. After all, since we met and established our relationship, I've always been the one giving unilaterally. He enjoyed my meticulous care, my every decision revolving around him, and his words were like commandments to me. He knew I loved him humbly, adored him to the core. I was willing to degrade myself. So why would he need to care about me? Why would he need to know my thoughts? All he could think about was Si Xiaoxiao, and all he wanted to do was give to her. If that's the case, I'll let him have his way. I revealed the obsession in Gu Yuchen's heart. Si Xiaoxiao said she's the woman in your heart. You've been thinking about her for years, and you'd do anything for her. If that's the case, I'll let you have your way. We're getting a divorce. When I exposed his thoughts, Gu Yuchen didn't admit it. No, it's not like that, Shaoli. You've misunderstood us. Me and Si Xiaoxiao aren't what you think, really. Then tell me, what is your relationship? You generously gave half of your salary to Si Xiaoxiao and her mother, but you never gave me a single cent. You worry about Si Xiaoxiao not having clothes to wear, about her and her mother going hungry and cold, but have you ever cared to see what I eat or wear? Gu Yuchen was caught off guard by my question. After a while, he said, I just felt sorry for her. There are plenty of unfortunate people in this world. Why haven't you given your salary to anyone else? Why see Xiao? Gu Yuchen had nothing to say. A look of embarrassment and annoyance flashed across his face. Xiaoli, I know my previous actions caused you to misunderstand. I admit my mistake, and from now on, I will change. We won't get divorced. Gu Yuchen actually refused to get divorced, which surprised me. He clearly likes Si Xiao so much. So why does he have to sneak around with her instead of giving her a chance to be by his side openly? I can't figure it out. No matter what, the divorce is non-negotiable. Gu Yuchen refuses to divorce, but I'll make him have to. I was discharged the next day. I had just arrived home and rested for a few minutes when Si Xiao knocked on the door. She has a scar on her nose, which looks quite funny. I coldly stared at her. What are you doing here? You're not welcome. After glancing around the room to ensure no outsiders were present, Si Xiao let out a cold laugh. Yang Xiaoli, I never expected you to pull this move. I underestimated you. I looked at her coldly. You didn't come to me just to say these few words, did you? Of course not. I know about your strategy of using retreat as a form of advance to propose a divorce with Yu Chen. Don't think you're so clever, Yang Xiaoli, for pulling this stunt at this time. Do you really think Yu Chen is unwilling to divorce you? He has no choice. What do you mean by that? Yu Chen has just been promoted, and as you know, the party's management is very strict now. Even the slightest incident could affect Yu Chen's future, so he's keeping the marriage intact for the greater good. Is that so? Gu Yuchen won't divorce you for the sake of his career, so your plan to have an affair with him is going to fall through, isn't it? Xiao's face fell when I said that. Yang Xiaoli, watch your manners. You dare to do it but are afraid of being talked about. I'm not going to waste my time with someone as uncivilized as you. I came here today specifically to inform you that Yu Chen can't divorce you for the sake of his career. But to compensate me, he agreed to let me take over your job. Yang Xiaoli, you're about to become unemployed. Really? Let's wait and see. Si Xiao left triumphantly, convinced that taking over my job was a done deal. She thought I would give up my job for Gu Yuchen, and that she would live as prosperously as she did in her previous life. She's overthinking it. When Gu Yuchen returned, he bought a lot of groceries, including spare ribs, eggs, and fish. He was much nicer to me than before, initiating conversations and even making me a bowl of brown sugar water. Then he went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Soon, a delicious dinner was ready on the table. Gu Yuchen called me to dinner, and I silently sat down and enjoyed the meal. He had been watching me carefully, and finally, after I finished eating and put down my chopsticks, Gu Yuchen spoke up. Xiaoli, I have something to tell you. I nodded and looked at him, and Gu Yuchen cleared his throat. I spent all night thinking about it and realized my mistake. I shouldn't have gotten too close to Si Xiao out of pity, nor should I have neglected you, my wife. I know I was wrong, and I will change. I will try my best to cut off all contact with Si Xiao. I didn't say anything, just quietly watched him as Gu Yuchen finished his promise and then changed the subject. Xiaoli, Si Xiao is currently unemployed and raising a child, which is very tough and pitiful. As a soldier, helping the people is our duty. I was thinking, as long as Si Xiao gets a formal job and can support her child, I won't have any reason to help her anymore. So, could you give your promotion quota to Si Xiao? I couldn't help but laugh. Exactly what Si Xiao said. If I hadn't lived through it all and known what was coming, I would have naively believed Gu Yuchen. Right, what a pity. I shook my head. Why give my job slot to Si Xiao? We have other, better solutions, don't we? Gu Yuchen's face showed confusion. What other solutions? I want a divorce so you can fully take care of Si Xiao and her mother. Isn't that a win-win situation? Gu Yuchen's expression was grim. I told you, I won't divorce you. Why won't you divorce me? I asked him with a smile. You're my wife, and our relationship is fine. Why would we get a divorce? Do you think we have a good relationship? Isn't that a joke? If you cared about me even a little, you would care about the child in my womb and hate the person who killed my child. But that's not the case now, is it, Gu Yuchen? It seems your heart is full of Si Xiao and her daughter. You're afraid Si Xiao won't have a job. You worry about her being cold or hungry, but there's not a trace of me or my dead child in your heart. Why should I stay with someone like you? Gu Yuchen's face turned extremely ugly. He couldn't hide his embarrassment after I hit the nail on the head. Yang Xiaoli, how did you become so unreasonable? Have I changed? Or is it you? I've worked tirelessly, exploited by you, and all I get is satisfaction for making you look good. I wish that were the case, but it doesn't make sense. Si Xiao and I are not what you think. We are completely innocent. Why won't you believe me? I don't care what you do, but I want you to know, I won't let anyone else take my job. I emphasized each word. Divorcing me is the best solution. You've gotten a promotion and a significant raise, so with your salary, supporting Si Xiaoxiao and her daughter should be more than enough. Yang Xiaoli, I will not divorce you. You should also give up the idea of divorce, because military marriages are sacred and inviolable. Since you married me, you will only be my wife for the rest of your life. Gu Yuchen left those harsh words behind and slammed the door, while I sat quietly in the chair, my heart frozen and cold. I thought that after saying all this, Gu Yuchen would be more than happy to divorce me, but he actually refused, and even threatened me with the sanctity of military marriages. Why is he doing this? I know deep down that Gu Yuchen doesn't have any feelings for me, so why won't he agree to a divorce? It's just fear of affecting his promotion, just wanting me to give my job to Si Xiaoxiao, just wanting to exploit my hard-working nature to be his old servant and take care of his parents. The next morning, my unit leader called me in. Xiao Yang, the plan to go to the Great Northern Wilderness might be off. Why, your family's Gu commander came to see us. First and foremost, you are a military family member, and only then are you our employee. Between being a military family member and an employee, your primary responsibility is to be a good military family member. So, to ensure Commander Gu has no worries, your job might. How could I not understand what the leader is getting at? In my previous life, I was obedient and worked hard, so Gu Yuchen easily gave my job to Si Xiaoxiao. In this life, since I'm not obedient, he has to use his power to pressure me. Since Gu Yuchen doesn't agree to the divorce, I really have no way to divorce him. I currently have no ability to confront Gu Yuchen, although he's not all-powerful after his promotion. He can completely control me by securing the rear with a military family member. Leaving the unit, I returned home in a daze. Si Xiaoxiao must have gotten wind of the news and was deliberately waiting to see me humiliated. As soon as I returned, she mocked me in a shrill voice. Didn't you tell me not to think about your job? How dare you still talk big now? I really wanted to slap Si Xiaoxiao across the face when I saw her. Just as I was about to make a move, Si Xiaoxiao sneered and spoke. Yang Xiaoli, have you come back too? I remember you weren't like this in your previous life. The urge to act was suppressed within me upon hearing Si Xiaoxiao's words. I took a deep breath and looked at Si Xiaoxiao, asking, what do you mean? What do you mean by last life? Still pretending, you dare to say you haven't relived your life? Si Xiaoxiao sneered, in your previous life, you were timid and submissive, treating Yuchen as your everything. Yuchen told you to go down, and you wouldn't dare to go up. Now you dare to defy Yuchen's words and even scheme against me. If you weren't reliving your life, who would believe such a change? Realizing Si Xiaoxiao had said as much, I stopped pretending and asked, so you've relived your life too? Yeah, it's all because you kicked me. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't have to endure this miserable life. Speaking of which, life 30 years from now is rapidly changing, unlike now, where we have nothing to eat or wear, and everything is poor and backward. Si Xiaoxiao's disdain is obvious. And it's no wonder she dislikes her current life. After all, in her previous life, she lived in luxury in her later years, enjoying the best life with Gu Yuchen, living in a luxurious villa, surrounded by nannies and guards, with endless delicacies. This life is truly hard on her now. Thinking about my past life, I felt a sudden impulse. Si Xiaoxiao, since you've also been given a second chance, let's be clear about this. Are you after my job or the position of Gu Yuchen's wife? Si Xiaoxiao giggled. Of course, I want both. You can't have both fish and bear's paw. Now there's only one choice. Which one do you want? Let me remind you, work is hard and tiring. Nowhere near as glamorous as being the wife of a high-ranking official. Gu Yuchen is still so young, with a bright future ahead of him. Don't you want to be glamorous? Si Xiaoxiao had enjoyed a comfortable life with Gu Yuchen for decades and knew his later life better than anyone. She was tempted. As I said, where does working compare to becoming Gu Yuchen's wife in terms of prestige? She rolled her eyes. So what do you mean? I can help you achieve that. As long as you can get me a divorce from Gu Yuchen, I'll do my job. You marry him and become the commander's wife. Then climb the ranks step by step. Si Xiaoxiao's goal wasn't just to be the commander's wife, it was to be Gu Yuchen's wife at a higher level. Her calculating look didn't escape my notice. Finally, after a moment of contemplation, Si Xiaoxiao asked me, how can you help me? I smiled, of course, to make your wishes come true ahead of time. 2 days later, in the dead of night, a shocking incident occurred in the compound that stunned everyone. Si Xiaoxiao and Gu Yuchen were caught naked in bed by me, their lawful wife. In the dead of night, my wails and screams echoed far into the darkness. Lights turned on in every household in the courtyard. Si Xiaoxiao, who had kicked the door open, tried to stop me. Yang Xiaoli, what are you doing? We had an agreement. Gu Yuchen was completely confused. What? What is going on? The two of them frantically tried to find clothes to put on. But I had already grabbed and thrown them out in a swift move. Gu Yuchen was furious. Yang Xiaoli, give me my clothes. There must be a misunderstanding here. Let's talk it out. How could I possibly give him a chance to talk it out? I continued to scream at the top of my lungs. Soon, the room was packed with onlookers. Good heavens, Secretary Gu and Si Xiaoxiao are brazenly carrying on at home. Is there no justice left? No. It's not like that, Gu Yichen still tried to explain and deny. There. Si Xiaoxiao, naked, also knew shame under the crowd's gaze and desperately burrowed into Gu Yichen's arms seeking protection. With so many people watching, it's no wonder Gu Yichen was furious and embarrassed. He pushed Si Xiaoxiao away with a force, and her naked body was exposed to the world. Gu Yuchen once again tucked the blanket tightly around Si Xiaoxiao, as if she were the white moonlight in his heart. He tried to seek my help. How could this be? There must be a misunderstanding. Xiaoli, you have to help me explain. I wiped my eyes with my hands that still had scallion residue, and tears immediately poured down like rain. You've been sneaking around behind my back more than once. I've known for a long time that you've been up to no good, but I had no way to stop it. I sobbed to the military district political commissar who had rushed over. Gu Yichen and Si Xiaoxiao have been carrying on for quite some time. I discovered it earlier, and Si Xiaoxiao even pushed me down, causing me to miscarry. Gu Yichen knew I lost the child and damaged my body, yet he ignored me. He was afraid it would affect his job, so he warned me not to spread rumors, and even threatened to give my job to Si Xiaoxiao. I didn't. Yang Xiaoli, you're spreading lies, Gu Yichen retorted, his eyes wide with anger. Whether I'm lying or not, you can ask our superiors. I had originally planned to respond to the organization's call and go to Baidawang. I even decided to divorce and let them be together, but they still wouldn't leave me alone. I cried with genuine emotion, and the other families in the compound were all outraged, speaking up for me. Yes, Xiaoli is such a good-natured girl. Look at the clothes she's wearing. What is that? Now, look at that woman surnamed Si. She doesn't even have a job, yet she dresses up every day in fancy clothes and enjoys the finer things in life. Yes. It's said that Commander Gu even gives her half his salary. The family's meat, grain, and cloth rations all go to Si Xiaoxiao and her daughter, while Xiaoli has to make do with just eating corn buns every day. And that's not all. Xiaoli, who is pregnant, is forced to wash clothes for Si Xiaoxiao and her daughter. As everyone chimed in, the political commissar's expression grew increasingly grim. Comrade Xiao Yang, you've been wronged. Military marriages are sacred and inviolable. This matter doesn't just target military spouses, it also applies to us soldiers. We will definitely give you an explanation for this. Gu Yuchen has been suspended and is under investigation. The military district leaders are taking this matter very seriously and have dispatched an investigation team to look into it. Gu Yuchen's assistance to Si Xiaoxiao and her mother was conducted openly. No in-depth investigation was needed, as those in the know gossiped about it extensively. My miscarriage caused by Si Xiaoxiao pushing me is also common knowledge. Moreover, Gu Yuchen's demand to my employer that I give my job to Si Xiaoxiao is an irrefutable fact. Gu Yuchen's defense was weak and utterly unconvincing. The military leaders were deeply disappointed in Gu Yuchen, and his future was over. As for Si Xiaoxiao, she was detained on charges of disrupting a military marriage. Si Xiaoxiao was stunned. She kept crying out that she was innocent, claiming that I had schemed this all along and had agreed to her being with Gu Yuchen. She said I was heartless and couldn't stand to see her with Gu Yuchen. No one believed Si Xiaoxiao's words. Everyone thought she had lost her mind. After all, who would give up a promising husband like Gu Yuchen? Let alone the fact that I was seen as the epitome of honesty by everyone. Everyone knew I was the target of their bullying, and that I was the hard-working ox who never complained. Si Xiaoxiao was desperate and finally asked to see me. I agreed to her request and went to the detention center to meet her. Si Xiaoxiao looked haggard, with swollen eyelids and a sallow, lifeless face. When she saw me, she viciously tried to jump up but was restrained by handcuffs and fell back down weakly. Yang Xiaoli, why did you scheme against me? Why? I coldly stared at Si Xiaoxiao. Don't you know the reason by now? Aren't you clear about what you've done to me? I don't know, Yang Xiaoli. You need to tell them this is all a misunderstanding. Your relationship with Yuchen is broken. You can't do this to him. He's a high-ranking official. He can't be suspended. I just sneered. Why would I lie to the organization? You've disrupted a military marriage, engaged in improper conduct. That's the truth, isn't it? But you were the one who made me do this. You gave me the opportunity. Are you deliberately seeking revenge on us? Si Xiaoxiao finally understood. Yang Xiaoli, how vicious you are. Are you trying to kill us? You won't even leave us a way out. I nodded. I had no intention of getting entangled with them, actually. I initially just wanted a divorce to serve my country, but Si Xiaoxiao and Gu Yuchen wouldn't let it go. Si Xiaoxiao wanted to kill my child. She wanted to have her cousin make me infertile. Just like in her previous life, her heart is as wicked as it can be. She is a demon, and Gu Yuchen, I had already taken the initiative to propose divorce to let him go, yet he still won't let me go. He covets my job and, for the sake of his future, still chooses to secretly conspire with Si Xiaoxiao. They treat me like a fool, and they continue to try to control my life. What gives? I was just doing what I was supposed to do. I was only seeking justice for my innocent child who died tragically in my previous life, and for that poor young Shally. In the end, Si Xiaoxiao was sentenced to 3 years in prison, Gu Yuchen was dismissed from the military, and I took the opportunity to file for divorce from Gu Yuchen. The divorce proceedings went surprisingly smoothly. On the day I received the divorce report, I left with the work team to head to the Great Northern Wilderness, for over 2 decades in Beidawang. I followed the organization, tackling nature head-on, and wherever they needed me, I went. I dedicated my youth to Beidawang, never once complaining or whining. Life in Beidawang was tough, but undeniably fulfilling and joyful. I was commended by the organization for my multiple achievements. My name has appeared in newspapers and on TV multiple times. 20 years later, I, still committed to my mission, went to Beijing to receive an award. The rapid development of my country is astonishing. Walking through the brightly lit streets, I am deeply moved. I am no longer the aimless young Shally of my previous life. I have lived a meaningful and energetic life. The night before we were to return after receiving our awards with the honored comrades, we went to the store together to buy gifts for our colleagues. As we passed by a hotel entrance, we saw fully armed police officers. Several police officers were restraining a man, handcuffing him, while a body lay on the ground, blood gushing out. My gaze unconsciously swept over the face of the man being restrained by the police. A familiar feeling made me stop in my tracks and look at him again. It was still that handsome face, but now marked with the signs of age and experience. The man, handcuffed, met my gaze, and we locked eyes, leaving him stunned. I saw his lips tremble, silently mouthing 2 words. I averted my eyes from him to the lifeless, naked woman lying on the ground. A pale, heavily made-up face overlapped with the memory of Si Xiaoxiao. I didn't expect to run into an old friend at this moment. I twitched my mouth and quickly left with the gift bag. Where in life can we not meet? But this meeting is different from the one in my previous life. In my previous life, I stood on a brightly lit street, watching the spirited Gu Yuchen, the elegant and noble Si Xiaoxiao, and them walking hand in hand, surrounded by guards. In my past life, I wanted to get closer and ask for clarity, but I was hit by a speeding car and sent flying into the air. Life is inherently the same. We all come and go naked. The only difference lies in how you choose. I am grateful that in this life, I made the right choice. Story 2. In the ward, when Jin Yan held my hand, his eyes filled with deep affection. Xingyue, the doctor says I don't have much time left. I want to leave all my property to Wanwan. I was stunned. You're different. You're just someone who takes care of me. But Wanwan is a dancer. She needs money to live a decent life. His voice was soft, but every word cut like a knife. And if it weren't for that play you deliberately staged back then, Wanwan and I would have been together long ago. You've held me hostage with your life-saving debt for all these years. Enough is enough. My hand fell away. My heart is cold as stone. To save him, I gave up my admission letter to the Aerospace University. To take care of him, I studied nursing, a decade of youth, and all I got in his eyes was acting and kidnapping. After signing the agreement to relinquish my property, I whispered, okay. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in the summer of my 18th year. Chapter 1, June 7, 2024, the second day of the college entrance exam. I sat in the exam room, staring at the physics paper in front of me, but all I could hear was Wen Jinyan's last words before his death. If it weren't for your deliberate performance back then, acting, I let out a cold laugh and wrote furiously. In my previous life, at this time, I was anxiously waiting in the hospital corridor for the results of Wen Jinyan's surgery. In my rush to save him, I missed 2 afternoon exams. With a mock exam score of 689, I ended up scoring just over 400. In this life, I will reclaim everything I've lost. After the exam, I went straight home without paying attention to the constant notifications on my phone. Xingyue, where are you? When Jin Yan was in a car accident, hurry to the hospital. He's badly injured. The doctor said that if we had brought him in an hour later, it might have been too late to save him. I turned off my phone and calmly ate dinner. My mother, Lin Shuya, put down her chopsticks and looked at me worriedly. Xingyue, do you know about what happened at your Uncle Wen's house? I know. I picked up a piece of braised pork and said, what does it have to do with me? But, Mom, I looked up at her. When Jin Yan was driving to chase Su Wanwan, the accident was his own fault. Why should I go? Lin Shuya was stunned, as if hearing her daughter speak so calmly for the first time. You grew up together since childhood, so I have to pay for his stupidity. I put down my chopsticks. Mom, I'm 18, I have my own judgment. Dad Lin Jiangwo pushed the door open at this moment. His face solemn. Xingyue, Uncle Wen asked me to ask if you could go see Wen Jianyan. He's been calling your name. I shook my head faintly. I have an exam tomorrow. But, Dad, I stood up. In my previous life, I missed out on life for him, but this time I won't make the same mistake. Lin Jiangwo looked puzzled at his wife. What is she talking about? Lin Shuya shook her head, indicating she didn't know. I returned to my room, took out my review materials for aerospace engineering, and started previewing my university courses. This time, I will follow my own path. My phone rang again. It was an unfamiliar number. Hello, is this Lin Xingyue? I'm a nurse from the city hospital. When Jin Yan has been calling your name, and he's not doing well right now. I hung up the phone directly, then I blocked the number. A summer evening breeze wafted in through the window, carrying a faint scent of flowers. I looked at the physics reference book on the desk and a smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. In this life, I, Lin Xingyue, live only for myself. Chapter 2. The next day was the last day of the college entrance exam. I walked into the exam room full of energy, completely free from the unease I felt in my previous life. Halfway through the chemistry exam, the sound of an ambulance suddenly came from outside. Some classmates got distracted, but I focused intently on answering the questions. After the exam, the invigilator smiled and told us, classmates, the college entrance exam is over. Cheers erupted in the classroom, and everyone hugged each other and took photos to commemorate the moment. I packed up my stationery and was about to leave. Xingyue, I heard hurried footsteps behind me and turned to see class monitor Zhang Yue. Why haven't I been able to reach you these past 2 days? Do you know about Wen Jinyan's situation? I know. Zhang Yue was stunned for a moment. Why didn't you go to the hospital? I heard he's badly injured and keeps calling your name. I glanced at her indifferently. Why should I go? But you too. What do we have to do with it? I interrupted her. He crashed his car into a tree trying to chase Su Wanwan. What does that have to do with me? Zhang Yue opened her mouth wide. Xingyue, how can you be so cold-hearted? You grew up together, and now he's like this. So I should give up my own life to take care of him, I sneered. Zhang Yue, if you think he's pitiful, you go take care of him. After saying that, I turned and left, leaving Zhang Yue staring in shock. I stepped out of school and took a deep breath. It feels so good to be free. When I got home, my parents were already waiting in the living room. Xingyue, how did you do on the exam? Lin Shuya asked with concern. Not bad, I should be able to get into Beihang University. Lin Jiangwo's eyes lit up. Really? I nodded, silently adding to myself. In my previous life, my mock exam scores were already enough for Beihang's admission line, and this time it will only be better. Oh, Lin Shuya suddenly remembered something. Uncle Wen called, saying that Jin Yan's condition has stabilized a bit. But what? The doctor said his spine is severely damaged and he is likely to be paralyzed. Lin Shuya's voice choked up. Uncle Wen asked if you would be willing to go see him. I remained expressionless. I'm not willing, Xingyue. Lin Jiangwo frowned. After all, you've grown up together since childhood. Now that he's like this was his own choice, I said coldly. Driving without a license, speeding for a woman who doesn't even love him, this is the consequence. But Jin Yan always treated you as the most important person. Then why did he go after Su Wanan? I retorted. If I really mattered, would he have ended up like this for another woman? Lin Jiangwo and Lin Shuya exchanged a glance, both at a loss for words. Because I'm right, if when Jin Yan really cared about me, he wouldn't do something so dangerous for Su Wanwan at such a critical moment like the college entrance exam. I'm tired, I'm going back to my room to rest. I turned and went upstairs, hearing my parents' hushed discussion behind me. Xingyue seems to have changed. Maybe it's growing up, finally understanding some things. Yes, I've figured it out. The Lin Xingyue from the previous life, who was obsessed with love and would give up everything for a man, is gone. Now, I live only for myself. Chapter 3. The next few days were peaceful. I review my university courses at home every day and occasionally meet up with high school friends. The rumors about Wen Jinyan were spreading like wildfire among our classmates, but no one dared to bring it up in front of me. It must have been Zhang Yue who told others about my stance. On the 5th night, Uncle Wen Jianhua came to my house. He looked much more haggard, with a few more gray hairs. Xingyue, please, I beg you to go see Jin Yen, he said with red eyes. He's in a very bad state and refuses to cooperate with the treatment. I sat on the sofa, calmly looking at him. Uncle Wen, to be frank, Jin Yen's current situation is of his own making. But, he drove without a license to chase after Su Wanan and ended up severely injuring himself. That was his choice, I said coldly. I am not obligated to take responsibility for his choices. When Jianhua was stunned, as if he hadn't expected Lin Xingyue, who had always been obedient since childhood, to say such a thing. Xingyue, how could you do this? Jin Yan has always what? Always liked me, I sneered. If he really liked me, he wouldn't have driven off to chase after Su Wanwan on the day of the college entrance exam. He was just acting on impulse. The consequence of a moment's impulse is paralysis. And that's reality. I stood up. Uncle Wen, I sympathize with your situation, but I won't ruin my own life out of pity. When Jianhua's face turned pale, and he swayed unsteadily, Lin Jiangwo quickly supported him. Old Wen, don't get so worked up. Jiangwo, when Jianhua grabbed Lin Jiangwo's hand, please persuade Xingyue. Jin Yan really can't live without her. The doctor said he's showing severe signs of depression. And if this continues, I understand. I'll have a good talk with Xingyue. After when Jianhua left, Lin Jiangwo and Lin Shuya both looked at me. Xingyue, are you really determined? Lin Jiangwo asked. Yes, I nodded. Mom and Dad, I know you're soft-hearted, but I won't compromise on this. Lin Shuya sighed, but seeing Lao Wen like that, it hurts me too. Mom, if I give up my studies and my dreams to take care of Wen Jinyan, will you take responsibility for my regrets in the future? Lin Shuya fell silent. I want to apply to Beihang University, study aerospace engineering, and contribute to the country's aerospace industry, I said seriously. This is my dream, and I won't give it up for anyone. Lin Jiangwo nodded. Okay, Dad supports you. Lin Shuya also nodded. Mom supports you too. I felt a warmth in my heart. In my previous life, my parents also supported my choices like this. Unfortunately, I was blinded by love at the time and let them down. In this life, I will not let them down again. Late at night, my phone rang again. It was Su Wanwan calling. Xingyue, can you come to the hospital? Jin Yan's condition is very bad. Her voice sounded anxious, but I detected a hint of insincerity. In my previous life, I was deceived by her false kindness, thinking she genuinely cared about Wen Jinyan. Only later did I realize she was just acting. No way. I refused directly. Xingyue, I know you have issues with Jin Yan, but he's Su Wanan. I interrupted her. Didn't Wen Jinyan get into a car accident because you broke up with him on the day of the college entrance exam, making him drive recklessly to chase after you? There was silence on the other end of the phone for a few seconds. Xingyue, how can you say that? I never expected this to happen. Really? Then why don't you get back together with him now? If you care so much, why don't you take care of him yourself? Su Wanzhou stammered. Stop pretending. Su Wanzhou, you don't really love him. You just want someone else to take responsibility for looking after him, I said coldly and hung up the phone directly. Then I blocked Su Wanan's number as well. The world is finally peaceful. Chapter 4. A week later. The college entrance exam results were out. I scored 697 points. It's even higher than my mock exam score in my previous life. Lin Jiangwo and Lin Shuya were so excited that tears streamed down their faces. Xingyue, you're amazing. Lin Shuya hugged me tightly. Beihang is in the bag. I was also excited, but more than anything, I felt a sense of relief. The regret from my previous life can finally be remedied. We have to celebrate, Lin Jiangwo said enthusiastically. Let's dine at the best hotel tonight. Just then, the doorbell rang. Lin Jiangwo went to open the door and came back with a complicated expression. It's Uncle Wen. He wants to see you. I frowned but still walked toward the door. When Jianhua looked at me, a complex emotion flickering in his eyes. Xingyue, I heard you scored 697. Congratulations. His voice was bitter. Jin Yan would have been so proud of you if he knew. I didn't respond. Xingyue, I'm begging you one last time. Go see Jin Yan, Mr. Wen's voice choked up. The doctor says his willpower is collapsing. If this continues, Uncle Wen, I interrupted him. Has Jin Yan's college entrance exam score come out yet? Mr. Wen paused for a moment. Yes, it's 568. What university does he want to go to? He originally wanted to apply to a medical university, but with this score, Wen Jianhua forced a smile, and with his current health condition, he can't study medicine anymore, so, his life plan is completely ruined by himself. Wen Jianhua fell silent. Uncle Wen, I'm not obligated to take responsibility for his life choices, I said coldly. He chose to take risks for Su Wanwan. and now he has to face the consequences. But Xinyue, if you truly care about your son, you should teach him to take responsibility instead of expecting others to clean up his mess. After saying that, I turned and went back inside, leaving Wen Jianhua standing alone at the door. Although it pains me a little, I know I can't afford to be soft-hearted. In my previous life, it was my softness that ruined my entire life. This time, I will not make the same mistake again. In the evening, our family of 3 went to the best hotel to celebrate. During the meal, Lin Jiangwo received a phone call and returned with a grave expression. "What's wrong?" Lin Shuya asked. "When Jin Yan has committed suicide." I paused for a moment while picking up some food, then continued eating as if nothing had happened. "What?" Lin Shuya exclaimed. "How could this happen?" He fell off the wheelchair and hit his head on the metal guardrail by the bed. "He's still in the emergency room." Lin Jiangwo sighed. "Uncle Wen asked me to ask if Xinyue is willing to go to the hospital." I put down my chopsticks and wiped my mouth. "No, Heart's Delight, Dad, Mom," I said seriously, looking at them. "When Jinyan's life or death has nothing to do with me. Whether he lives or dies is his own choice. And I won't change my decision because of his threats." Lin Jiangwo and Lin Shuya exchanged glances and finally nodded. "All right, we support your decision." I smiled, feeling warm inside. I'm lucky to have such parents. When I got home, I turned on my computer to check the course offerings for aerospace engineering at Beihang University. Starting next September, I will be moving towards my dream. As for Wen Jinyan, let him do whatever he wants. I am no longer the Lin Xinyue who would give up everything to save him. My phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. I didn't answer it. Soon, a text message arrived. "Xinyue, it's Su Wanan. Jin Yan is in grave danger. The doctor says he might not make it through the night. He's been calling out your name. Please, come see him." I read the message and let out a cold laugh. Then I deleted the message. Su Wanan, do you think I'm still that naive girl from my previous life? Chapter 5. The next morning, I was woken up by a knock on the door. When I went downstairs, I saw Wen Jianhua, Mrs. Wen Suya, and Su Wanan standing at the door. Mrs. Wen's eyes were swollen, clearly having cried all night. "Xinyue, please save Jin Yan," she cried as soon as she saw me. "The doctor says he has a severe desire to die, and only you can talk him out of it." Su Wanjing pretended to be concerned as well. "Xinyue, I know I've wronged Jin Yan, but seeing him like this, we're all very worried." I looked at them coldly. "If you're so worried, why aren't you taking care of him? Why come to me?" "Because he only listens to you," Mrs. Wen said urgently. "From childhood to adulthood, only you can calm him down." "That was in the past," I said indifferently. "Now, I have no obligation to take responsibility for his emotions." Su Wanwan suddenly took a step forward. "Xinyue, I know you hate me. It's all my fault. I'm the one who hurt Jin Yan, but you can't just watch him die." I gave a cold laugh. "Su Wanwan, stop acting here. If you really feel sorry for him, get back together with him and take care of him yourself." Su Wanwan's face changed. That's not what I meant." "What do you mean? Then, you want me to drop out of school to take care of him while you continue living your carefree life?" Su Wanwan's face turned pale as I hit the nail on the head. When Jianhua spoke up at this moment. "Xinyue, please, uncle is begging you. We can give you a lot of money, as much as you want, if you agree to take care of Jin Yan." "Uncle Wen," I interrupted him. "I don't lack money. What I lack is my own life." "But Jin Yan, what about him? He risked his life for Su Wanan, and now he wants to die for her again. These are all his own choices." My voice raised. "Why should I pay for his stupidity?" Mrs. Wen suddenly knelt down. "Xinyue, Auntie is begging you. Jin Yan is our only son. If he dies, we can't go on living either." A flicker of hesitation crossed my mind as I watched Mrs. Wen kneeling on the ground, but soon I remembered the words when Jin Yan had spoken just before his death in my previous life. "You were just someone who took care of me. You've been holding me hostage with that life-saving debt for so many years." I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, I had regained my composure. "Auntie Wen, please get up." My voice was calm. "I understand how you feel, but I won't change my decision." Mrs. Wen looked at me in disbelief. "Xinyue, how could you be so heartless?" "Heartless," I sneered. "Did Wen Jinyan consider my feelings, or yours, when he drove after someone for Su Wanwan on the day of the college entrance exam?" Mrs. Wen was left speechless. "Did he consider the consequences when making his choice, now that something has gone wrong? Is it fair to make others bear the responsibility?" Su Wanwan suddenly said at this moment. "Xinyue, I know you hate me, but Jin Yan is innocent." "Innocent?" I turned to look at her, my eyes full of sarcasm. "Su Wanwan, stop playing the saint here. If you really think Wen Jin Yan is innocent, Marry him and take care of him for the rest of your life. Su Wanwan turned pale. I still have to go to university. Do I not get to go to college? I asked coldly. Why should you get to live your own life while I have to sacrifice myself to take care of a man who destroyed himself for you? Su Wanwan was left speechless. Exactly. Why should I? Why should I pay for their love? Why should I sacrifice my youth to fill their gaps? Xing Yue, when Jianhua made one last attempt, if you agree to take care of Jin Yen, we are willing to give you all our family assets. I shook my head. Uncle Wen, I don't want the money. I just want to live the life I desire. After saying that, I turned around and went back inside. The sounds of Mrs. Wen's crying and when Jianhua's sighs echoed behind me. I knew they would think me cold-hearted, but I didn't care. The kind-hearted, almost foolish Lin Xingyue from my past life is gone. Now, I live only for myself. Chapter 6. A month later, I received the admission notice from Beihang University, Aerospace Engineering. Holding that red notice, I was so excited that I almost cried. This is the university and major I've always dreamed of, and the regret I missed in my previous life. Xingyue, Lin Shuya excitedly jumped up. Beihang, it really is Beihang. Lin Jiangwo was grinning from ear to ear. My daughter is going to university in Beijing, and it's the aerospace major. Our family of 3 hugged each other, happy like children. At that moment, the phone rang. It was my homeroom teacher, Mr. Wang, calling. Xingyue, congratulations on getting into Beihang University, Mr. Wang's voice was excited. You're the top student in our school this year. Thank you, Mr. Wang. By the way, Ms. Wang's voice was hesitant. Do you know how Wen Jinyan is doing? My smile faded. I don't know, and I don't want to know. Xingyue, I know there were some misunderstandings between you two, but Wen Jinyan really needs friends right now. Ms. Wang, I interrupted her. Wen Jinyan's current situation is of his own making. He has the right to choose his path in life, and so do I. Mr. Wang was silent for a moment. All right, I understand. I hope you have a great time at Beihang University. After hanging up the phone, I continued discussing the trip to Beijing with my parents, but not long after, there was another knock at the door. This time, it was my high school classmates, Zhang Yue and Li Xiaoyu. Xingyue, congratulations on getting into Beihang University, Zhang Yue said with a smile. Though it seemed a bit forced. Thank you, I replied politely. Li Xiaoyu hesitated for a moment but finally spoke up. Xingyue, we want to talk to you about Wen Jinyan. I frowned. What about him? His condition is very bad, Zhang Yue said cautiously. I heard he refuses to cooperate with treatment and won't see anyone. The doctor said he has severe depression. And then what? I asked coldly. You want me to go see him? The 2 girls exchanged glances and both nodded. Xingyue, we know Wen Jinyan wronged you, but you two were childhood friends. Xiaoyu Li tried to persuade me. Friend, I sneered. Would a real friend ruin himself over another woman during such a crucial moment like the college entrance exam? But he's now. Whatever happens to him now is his own choice. I said coldly. I'm not a savior. I'm not obligated to save everyone who makes the wrong choice. Zhang Yue was a bit angry. Xingyue, how could you become so cold-hearted? That's not the you I used to know. I was so naive before, I said calmly. Now, I just want to live for myself. But when Jin Yan is really pitiful, I interrupted Xiaoyu Li. What about Su Wanan? Why doesn't she take care of him? Isn't she his girlfriend? The 2 girls fell silent again. Because Su Wanzan had long since vanished without a trace, it said that she went to college in another city and never contacted Wen Jinyan again. Look, even Su Wanzan isn't willing to take responsibility. So why should I? I continued. I don't owe him anything. But back then, what do you mean back then? Did I like him back then? So I should sacrifice everything for him? I coldly stared at them. What kind of logic is that? Zhang Yue and Li Xiaoyu were both rendered speechless by my words. Xingyue, we just hope you can go see him. Not that we're asking you to take care of him for the rest of your life. Zhang Yue made one last attempt. No way, I firmly refused. I don't want to see him, and I don't want any connection with him. The 2 girls left disappointed. I know from now on, my image in the eyes of my classmates will be tarnished, but I don't care. I'd rather be called cold-hearted than repeat the mistakes of my past life. Chapter 7. At the end of August, I was preparing to go to school in Beijing. These days, I've been living a fulfilling life. I read books, work out, study English, and prepare for university life every day. I no longer cared about Wen Jinyan's affairs, occasionally hearing my parents mention them. I treated them as unrelated news. It is said that his condition fluctuates, sometimes cooperating with treatment, other times wanting to commit suicide. The Wen family nearly went bankrupt taking care of him, but none of this concerns me. The night before I left, I was packing my bags when the doorbell suddenly rang. Lin Jiangwo went to open the door, quickly returned, and his expression was somewhat complicated. Xingyue, when Jin Yan is here. I was stunned for a moment. He's here, yes. He came in a wheelchair. Lin Jiangwo looked at me. Do you want to see him? I hesitated for a few seconds before finally nodding. It's good to meet. To clear things up, I went downstairs to the living room and saw Wen Jinyan sitting in a wheelchair. He had lost a lot of weight compared to over a month ago, his face pale and his eyes dull. When he saw me, a spark of light flashed in his eyes, but it quickly faded. Xingyue. His voice was hoarse. Congratulations on getting into Beihang University. Thank you. I sat down on the sofa across from him, maintaining a safe distance. We fell silent for a while. Xingyue, I'm sorry. When Jinyan suddenly spoke, his voice filled with deep regret. I know I made a lot of mistakes. I shouldn't have done what I did for Wanwan on the day of the college entrance exam. When Jinyan, I interrupted him. You don't need to apologize to me. You have the right to choose your own life. Just as I have the right to choose mine. He gave a bitter laugh. I know you hate me. I don't hate you. I said calmly, hatred requires emotion, and I have no feelings for you anymore. When Jinyan's face turned even paler in an instant. Xingyue, what? You want me to stay and take care of you? I coldly looked at him. When Jinyan, I'm not your nanny, nor your savior. That's not what I meant. Then what did you come to me for? I stood up. If it's just to see me, you've seen me. If it's to ask for my forgiveness, I've already forgiven you. When Jinyan's eyes reddened, Xingyue, I know I've wronged you, but I truly regret it. What good is regret? I sneered. What exactly do you regret? Regretting falling in love with Su Wanwan, or regretting not choosing me? When Jin Yan opened his mouth, but no words came out. When Jin Yan listened carefully, I stepped in front of him, looking down at him. We won't have any further contact in this lifetime, whether you live well or want to die. It has nothing to do with me. Xingyue, tomorrow I'm leaving for Beijing, and from then on, we'll be strangers. My voice was cold. I hope you understand that. After saying that, I turned to head upstairs. Xingyue, when Jin Yan suddenly called out my name loudly, if time could go back, I definitely wouldn't choose Wanwan. I would choose you. I stopped and turned back to look at him. If time could go back, I sneered. When Jin Yan, time won't repeat itself. But even if it did, I wouldn't choose you. When Jin Yan stood there as if struck by lightning. Because I've already realized, you're not worth it. With that said, I walked upstairs without looking back. When Jin Yan's muffled sobs echoed behind me, but I didn't turn around. I've shed enough tears in my previous life. This time, it's his turn to cry. Chapter 8. The next day, my parents took me to the airport. In the waiting lounge, we discussed the arrangements for university life. Xingyue, take good care of yourself in Beijing, Lin Xia said with some reluctance. Call home if you miss it. Yes, I know. I nodded, feeling warm inside. Also, Lin Jiangwo reminded, study is important. But take care of your health too. Don't overwork yourself. Dad, I will. At that moment, the announcement in the waiting hall sounded. The boarding for flight CA-1234 to Beijing is now beginning. I stood up and hugged my parents. Mom and Dad, I'm off. Go ahead, study hard. I dragged my luggage towards the boarding gate, feeling excited and thrilled. A new life is about to begin. After the plane took off, I looked out at the clouds and felt an unprecedented sense of ease. No more entanglement from Wen Jinyan, no moral coercion, no unnecessary sacrifices. I finally get to live for myself. Arriving in Beijing, I smoothly completed the enrollment procedures and moved into the dormitory. My roommates are 3 girls from different cities, and they are all very friendly. Lin Xingyue, what a poetic name, said a girl named Zhao Xinran with a smile. Thank you. I smiled too. Another girl named Wang Xiu asked, where are you from? From Jiangnan City. The third girl, Li Jiayin, curiously asked, why did you choose aerospace engineering? There are very few girls in this major. Because I like it, I replied simply. I'd dreamed of contributing to the country's aerospace industry since I was a child. Wow, that's amazing. The 3 girls were all impressed. We quickly became familiar with each other, eating together in the cafeteria and strolling around campus. The campus of Beihang University is beautiful, with a strong sense of technology everywhere. Looking at those exhibits of aviation and aerospace, I felt a deep longing in my heart. This is the life I want. Lying in bed in the dorm at night, I picked up my phone to let my parents know I was safe. Mom and Dad, I've arrived at school. Everything is fine. That's good. Make sure to study hard. After hanging up the phone, I looked at the ceiling, feeling calm and content. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I hesitated for a moment but decided to answer. Hello, Xingyue. It's me, Wen Jinyan. A familiar voice came through the phone. I frowned. How did you get my number? I begged your uncle and aunt for it. Wen Jinyan's voice was weak. Xingyue, I want to say a few words to you. There's nothing to say. I was about to hang up. Xingyue, wait, Wen Jinyan said urgently. I just want to tell you. I really regret it. If I could do it over, I would never have chosen Wan, Wen Jinyan. I interrupted coldly. You already said all this yesterday. And there's no if about it, Xingyue. I know I don't deserve your excellence now, but I'm willing to wait for you. Wait for me. I sneered. Wen Jinyan, get this straight. I have no feelings for you anymore. Waiting a million years won't change that. Heartfelt joy. Also, stop calling me. I don't want to hear your voice. I hung up the phone and blocked the number. My roommates all looked at me, their eyes filled with concern. Xingyue, what's wrong? Ex-boyfriend? Zhao Xinran asked cautiously. I shook my head. Not really, just someone who doesn't know how to let go. You should be careful, though. People like that can sometimes do extreme things. Wang Xiyu warned. Yeah, I know, but deep down, I knew Wen Jinyan wouldn't do anything extreme. He doesn't even have the courage to commit suicide, let alone hurt others. Besides, we're thousands of miles apart, so even if he wanted to bother me, he couldn't. I'm finally completely free. Chapter 9. University life is even more fulfilling and exciting than I imagined. The courses in aerospace engineering are quite challenging, but I enjoy learning them. Every day immersed in the ocean of knowledge, I feel I'm getting closer to my dreams. I also joined the school's aeromodeling club, where I worked with like-minded classmates to build various flying models. Xingyue, your design is really impressive, the club leader praised. Would you be interested in participating in the National College Aeromodeling Championship? Of course, I'm interested, I said with excitement in my eyes. With such a fulfilling life, I almost forgot about Wen Jinyan's existence. A month later, my mom called. Xingyue, I need to tell you something. Lin Shiya's tone was heavy. What is it? Wen Jinyan, he passed away. My hand holding the phone paused, my emotions a tangled mess. How did he pass away? Uncle Wen said it was due to an infection caused by complications, and they couldn't save him. Lin Shia sighed. He was so young when he left. It's such a pity. I fell silent for a moment. How are his parents doing? It's heartbreaking, being an only child, but they also say that perhaps this is a release for Jinyan. I responded softly. Xingyue, are you okay? I'm fine, Mom. My voice was calm. When someone dies, it's like a lamp going out. I hope he makes better choices in his next life. Hanging up the phone, my roommates all looked at me. What's wrong? What happened? Zhao Xinran asked with concern. A close acquaintance passed away. I'm sorry, Li Jiayin said softly. I shook my head. It's okay, we were already out of touch. That's what I said, but I still couldn't sleep that night. Not because I was sad, but because of a complex emotion I couldn't quite put into words. When Jinyan is dead, the man who for 10 years in my past life, who finally called me a nanny and accused me of using my life-saving deed to blackmail him, is now dead. Should I be happy, or should I be sad? In truth, I don't want to feel anything. His life and death were never my concern to begin with, as someone who once knew him. Hearing of his death brings a bit of sadness. The next day, I went to class as usual, participated in club activities, and discussed academic matters with my classmates. When Jinyan's death did not disrupt my daily routine, this must be what it feels like to truly let go. A week later, I received a call from teacher Wang. Xingyue, when Jinyan's funeral is next week, will you be coming back to attend? No, I have classes to teach. Xingyue. Teacher Wang seemed like he wanted to say something, but in the end, he didn't. Alright, I understand. I do have classes to attend, but even if I didn't, I wouldn't go back for Wen Jinyan's funeral. The dead are gone, but the living must go on. I have my own life to live. A few more days passed, and Su Wanwan suddenly sent me a WeChat message. Her profile picture was still that meticulously edited selfie, looking glamorous. Xingyue, I heard Wen Jinyan passed away. Are you okay? I looked at the message and let out a cold laugh. Does this woman suddenly care now? Why didn't she think about this day when she left Wen Jinyan? I didn't reply to her message and just deleted her. These people all want to play the role of a saint, but none of them are willing to take responsibility. Everyone wants me to be the fool who sacrifices myself to save others. Thankfully, I'm not that Lin Xingyue from my previous life anymore. Now, I live only for my own dreams. Chapter 10. Time flies quickly. And before I knew it, I was already in the second semester of my freshman year. I ranked first in my major and was awarded the national scholarship. More importantly, I won the national first prize in the aeromodeling competition I participated in. Classmate Lin Xingyue, my advisor approached me. I have a great opportunity to recommend for you. What opportunity? The internship program at Aerospace Science and Technology Group, specifically for outstanding undergraduates. The mentor's eyes were filled with pride, given your performance. You have a very good chance of being selected. My heart raced with excitement. Really? Of course it's true. This internship program is a dream opportunity for many students. I immediately submitted my application materials. A week later, I received a notice for the interview. On the day of the interview, I walked into the room dressed in formal attire, full of energy. The interviewers were several senior aerospace experts who asked me many professional questions. Why did you choose aerospace engineering as your major, Lynn? Because it has been my dream since I was a child, I replied earnestly. I hope to contribute my strength to the nation's aerospace industry. What do you think is your greatest strength? I have strong learning and practical abilities, and I have a deep and lasting passion for aerospace technology. The interview went very well, and the experts were satisfied with my answers. 3 days later, I received the admission notice. I got selected. Shinue, that's amazing. My roommates were all happy for me. You're the pride of our dorm. I excitedly called my parents to share the good news. Mom and Dad, I got accepted into the internship program at Aerospace Science and Technology Group. Really? Lin Jiangwo's voice trembled. Shinue, you're amazing. Lin Xia cried over the phone. My daughter is truly outstanding. I'm so proud of you. That night, I stood on the balcony of my dorm, gazing at the starry sky. The Lin Shinue who once gave up her dreams for a man no longer exists. Now, I am steadily moving towards my goals. I remembered the words when Jin Yen said before his death in my previous life, "You're just a nanny, she's a dancer." I want to tell him now, when Jin Yen, you're wrong. I'm not a nanny. I'm an aerospace engineer. I have my own value, my own dreams, and my own life. And you're already in the past. A little over a month later, I officially started my internship at Aerospace Science and Technology Group. The first day I walked into the office building, I was overwhelmed with excitement. This is the heart of China's aerospace technology, a place where countless aerospace professionals fulfill their dreams, and I have finally become one of them. Classmate Lin Xingyue, welcome to our team. The project leader warmly welcomed me. Thank you. I will work hard to learn and live up to everyone's expectations. The internship was very fulfilling, and I learned new knowledge and skills every day. I participated in the development of several important projects, and although I was only doing basic work, I found it very meaningful. The 3-month internship ended quickly, but I received extremely high evaluations. Lin Xingyue is one of the best interns I have ever seen, the project leader wrote on my evaluation form. She has a solid professional foundation, a strong passion for learning, and excellent practical skills. We look forward to her joining our team after graduation. I was so touched by this review that I almost cried. This is the life I want. This is the dream I'm striving for. After returning to school, I studied even harder. Throughout my sophomore, junior, and senior years, I consistently ranked first in my major. I also published multiple academic papers and received various scholarships and honors. Finally, it was time for my senior graduation. I was unsurprisingly recommended for graduate studies at Tsinghua University, majoring in aerospace engineering. On the day of the graduation ceremony, my parents came all the way from Jiangnan City to attend, watching me standing proudly on stage. Their eyes brimmed with pride and satisfaction. Xingyue, you did it, Lin Jiangwo said excitedly. You really did it. Lin Xia wiped away her tears. My daughter has truly become a space engineer. Yes, I did it. I didn't sacrifice my dreams for anyone. I didn't become anyone's caretaker. I am myself, Lin Xingyue, a girl striving for her dreams. If when Jin Yen, who humiliated me by my sickbed back then, could see me now, I wonder what he would think. But none of that matters anymore. What matters is that I've finally become the person I wanted to be. Chapter 11. The study at the graduate level is more in-depth and specialized. I chose the satellite technology direction, and my advisor is Professor Chen, a top satellite expert in the country. Lin Xingyue, your undergraduate grades are excellent, Professor Chen said during our first meeting. I have high expectations for you. Thank you, Professor Chen. I will work hard. The intensity of the graduate courses is high, but I don't feel tired at all. Every day, I immerse myself in the ocean of satellite technology, feeling an unprecedented sense of fulfillment and joy. Meanwhile, I continue to maintain my connection with the Aerospace Science and Technology Group, often participating in some of their research projects. Xiaolin, your research report is excellent, praised Engineer Zhang from the group, with clear thinking and solid data. Thank you, Engineer Zhang. I still have a lot to learn. You're too modest. Young talents like you are exactly what our aerospace industry needs. Hearing this made me feel warm inside. This is what it feels like to be recognized, not because I sacrificed anything, not because I took care of anyone, but because of my own abilities and efforts. During my second year of graduate school, I participated in an important satellite development project. This is a satellite for deep space exploration, with very high technical difficulty. I was responsible for the design of the satellite communication system, Lin Xingyue. How is the design of this plan coming along? The project leader asked me. It's mostly done, but there are still a few technical challenges to overcome. What are the specific issues? I explained in detail the technical difficulties we encountered, and the other members of the project team listened attentively. This is indeed a tough problem. A senior engineer nodded, but your approach is correct. Keep digging deeper. I worked day and night, consulted a vast amount of literature, and conducted countless simulation experiments. Finally, in the dead of night, I found the solution. I did it, I exclaimed excitedly at the computer screen. My roommates in the dorm were all woken up by me, but seeing my excitement, they also got happy. Sister Xingyue, did you solve another technical problem? A junior asked with a smile. Yeah, this time it was really tough. The next day, I submitted the plan to the project team. The experts, after careful review, unanimously agreed that the plan was excellent. Lin Xingyue, your plan has solved our major problem, the project leader said happily. This is of great significance to the progress of the entire project. In that moment, I felt an unprecedented sense of accomplishment. This is what it feels like to realize one's own value, not relying on anyone, but creating value through my own abilities. During my third year of graduate school, I started writing my thesis. My research topic is Key Technologies for the New Generation Deep Space Exploration Satellite Communication System. This topic is very challenging, but I am confident I can do well. After a year of in-depth research, I finally completed my thesis. On the day of the defense, the experts on the review committee highly praised my research achievements. Lin Xingyue's research work has significant theoretical and practical value, said the chairman of the review committee. Her thesis quality is outstanding. I successfully passed the defense and earned my master's degree. More importantly, my research findings have been adopted by the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation and will be applied to the upcoming deep space exploration satellite. At the graduation ceremony, Professor Chen patted me on the shoulder and said, Xingyue, you are one of my most outstanding students. I believe you will achieve great things in the aerospace industry. Thank you for your mentorship, Professor Chen. You've received a formal job offer from the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation, haven't you? Yes, I will be working in the Satellite Technology Department at headquarters. That's great. It's the perfect place for you to showcase your talents. As I left the school, I glanced back at the beautiful campus. This is where my dreams took flight, and it was a pivotal turning point in my life. Thank you to everyone who has helped me over the years, and thank you to my own persistence and hard work. Now, I am about to embark on a new chapter of life. I want to become a true aerospace engineer and contribute my strength to the nation's aerospace endeavors. This is the life I want, and this is the dream I strive for. Those who once tried to kidnap me and exploit me are now a thing of the past. I am Lin Xingyue, living for myself and fighting for my dreams. The end. That concludes the first story. Don't go away. The next one is even more exciting. In 1979, at the age of 18, I, orphaned, traveled north alone to seek refuge with my fiancé, Gu Xinan. In the courtyard, Gu Xinan in his military uniform looked at me, dressed in rustic attire. Turning to Bai Yuiguang, he said, "This is the little nanny my parents hired from the countryside. In my past life, I produced the engagement token and exposed Gu Xinan's lie on the spot." Bai Yuiguang left in humiliation, turned around and married Gu Xinan's sworn enemy, only to be tortured to death by him. Gu Xinan married me and tormented me for a lifetime. I was pregnant 7 times and miscarried 7 times. It wasn't until the doctor declared that I had permanently lost my ability to conceive, only then did Gu Xinan grab my neck, sneering that I was unworthy of bearing his child because I had killed his beloved Bai Yuiguang. In a moment of despair upon learning the truth, I plunged a scalpel into Gu Xinan's body and jumped off an 18-story building. When I opened my eyes again, I heard Gu Xinan telling his white moonlight, "This is the little nanny my parents hired from our hometown." I suppressed the bitterness in my heart and nodded, admitting, "Yes, I am the nanny hired by the Gu family." Gu Xinan, in this life, we are done. Learning that Gu Xinan mistook me for the family's hired nanny, Commander Gu slapped his son hard across the face. "Nonsense. Go out and clarify this immediately. Su Yi is your fiancé who is betrothed to you. Did you actually say she was just a little nanny we hired? How can I face Suye's parents like this? Back then, when Commander Gu and his wife were sent to the farm for re-education, they nearly starved to death. It was my parents who secretly sent them food for 3 years, saving their lives. After being exonerated, Commander Gu insisted on arranging a marriage between me and Gu Sinan. Despite my parents' objections, later, when Commander Gu and Aunt Yuan returned to the city, the connection between our two families gradually faded. In my previous life, I was determined to fulfill my parents' wish and marry Gu Sinan, but Gu Sinan didn't love me. Even to avoid me, he actively applied for a remote posting to the southwest, only returning home 3 times in 10 years. Aunt Yuan, who hadn't seen her son for a long time, resented me for driving away her only son. Commander Gu's gaze at me gradually turned disappointed. I mustered up the courage to apply for military accompaniment. To avoid me, Gu Sinan volunteered to go to the front lines again, risking his life 9 times out of 10, almost losing it in the process. For the sake of her son, Aunt Yuan begged General Gu with tears, forcing me to leave Gu Sinan's side and return to the compound. In the cold, unfeeling compound, I endured endless ridicule and disdain, wasting half my life, never once being happy. When I opened my eyes again, I saw Gu Sinan carefully embracing his white moonlight, afraid she might suffer the slightest grievance. I suddenly realized that a forced marriage is doomed to be unhappy. Gu Sinan, in this life, I let you go, and I let myself go too. In this life, I just arrived at the family compound. Aunt Yuan doesn't hate me yet, and Commander Gu cares for me dearly. Only Gu Sinan, just like in my previous life, vehemently opposes this marriage. Bailan and I are deeply in love, and we absolutely refuse to accept an arranged marriage. You owe a debt of gratitude to Sui's parents, so why should you sacrifice my happiness to repay it? The military commander was so furious he was about to whip him with his belt. I stood in front of Gu Sinan, blocking the belt that was about to come down. Uncle Gu, this time I came to find a nanny job to earn a living. I've never met Brother Gu, nor have I ever thought about marrying him. Let's annul the engagement between our two families. With that, I took out the betrothal gift given by Aunt Yuan, a crystal-carved goose, and presented it to Gu Sinan. Brother Gu, I've heard that geese are birds of fidelity. Take this crystal goose back. Give it to the girl you truly love. Gu Sinan didn't expect me to propose breaking off the engagement. I breathed a sigh of relief, but also felt a bit annoyed. He scrutinized me. You really don't want to marry me, you only want to be our family's nanny. I nodded, looking at him with the hatred of my past life, and said, Gu Sinan, I really don't like you, and I don't want to marry you. Gu Sinan's face changed instantly. He tightly gripped the crystal wild goose, laughing angrily. Good, you'd better remember what you said today and don't harbor any improper thoughts about me. I stayed at the Gu household as a country maid. Commander Gu and Aunt Yuan felt deeply guilty and offered to arrange a respectable job for me. I shook my head and refused. I'm just a country girl from the village. All I can do is wash clothes and cook. I don't have a single penny on me right now. The fare to find Gu Sinan was collected by the folks back home, penny by penny. I need to make money first to repay the fare the villagers lent me. Seeing my insistence on becoming a nanny, General Gu and Aunt Yuan had no choice but to agree. As I stepped into the Gu family's kitchen again, it felt like my body had developed muscle memory. The sweet and sour spare ribs, along with the winter melon meatball soup, left Commander Gu and Aunt Yuan utterly amazed. Su Yi, I had no idea you were such a great cook. I smiled bitterly to myself. Of course, in my previous life, I served your family for 40 years in this very house. I know better than the nanny what my family likes to eat. Commander Gu loves sweet and sour spare ribs. So I shamelessly camped out at the back door of the state-run restaurant for a month. Only then did the chef agree to teach me this special dish. Aunt Yuan loves winter melon meatball soup, and I burned my hands countless times. Finally made a clear broth meatball soup with tender meat. Gu Sinan picked a few strands of his favorite braised dried tofu strips and gave a cold laugh. Stop with your little schemes. Do you think learning to cook a few dishes your parents like will make you a daughter-in-law of the Gu family? Commander Gu slammed the table hard. Eat if you want, or get out if you don't. Gu Sinan slammed his chopsticks down on the table, grabbed his coat, and stormed out. The father and son parted ways again in displeasure. I struggled to hold back my tears, almost wanting to bury my head in the bowl. I hate that I was reborn in my weakest years, alone and helpless, homeless. Even the introduction letter the production team gave me has expired. If I didn't have the guts to stay at the Gu household, I guess I'd end up as a vagrant, sent back to my hometown. Just wait a little longer. Once I've saved enough money, I can leave the Gu household, or find another family to work as a nanny. This way, I can get my temporary residence permit. I want to settle down in this city. And I want to go to school. In this lifetime, I also want to be someone who contributes to society. Under my deliberate avoidance, Gu Xinan and I, though living under the same roof, hadn't seen each other for a long time. While he was at work, I cleaned the house, did the laundry, and cooked. By the time he got home, I had already eaten in the kitchen and was hiding in the nanny's room reading. Soon, I received my first month's salary. Auntie Yuan gave me 20 yuan, I took out 15 yuan, sent it back to my hometown, and asked the village leader to help me return it to the villagers. With the remaining 5 yuan, I decided to go to the supply and marketing cooperative to buy some pencils, erasers, and notebooks. To my surprise, I ran into Gu Xinan and his beloved Jiang Bailan here. Seeing me following them, Gu Xinan's face turned furious, and he shouted angrily, "Su Yi, can you at least have some self-respect? I've already made it clear that I will never accept an arranged marriage from the older generation, even if you follow me to the ends of the earth. I will never marry someone like you, a country bumpkin." A burst of laughter erupted around, my face burned, and I couldn't help but explain, "I wasn't following you. I came to buy pencils." Jiang Bailan tugged at Gu Xinan. "Xinan, we misunderstood Sui. Maybe she really came to buy pencils." Gu Xinan let out a cold laugh. "What can a woman who didn't even finish elementary school do with a pencil? Bailan, you're too naive. You don't know that some women will do anything to stay in the city." I raised my head, fixed my gaze on Gu Xinan, and mustered the courage to retort, "If I really wanted to stay in the city, I wouldn't have broken off the engagement with you." The crowd erupted in commotion upon hearing my words. "What? This girl is actually Captain Gu's fiancée? Then who's the girl next to him? The one holding Captain Gu's hand? Can't you tell? Just his mistress." Obviously, Jiang Bailan's face turned pale, and she struggled desperately to break free from Gu Xinan's grip. Then ran off crying. Gu Xinan's face turned ashen, and he glared at me as if he wanted to devour me. "Su Yi, if anything happens to Bailan, I'll take your life." With that, he pushed through the crowd and chased after Jiang Bailan. I coldly glanced at his resolute back. I turned and walked into the supply and marketing cooperative, buying the paper, pens, and ink I needed. Back home, I took out my fountain pen and ink, ready to practice calligraphy. Suddenly, the door to the nanny's room was kicked open from the outside. Gu Xinan stormed in with a cold expression, grabbed the ink bottle from the desk, and slammed it violently onto the floor. The splintered glass shards left several bloody scratches on my calf, and the pain brought tears to my eyes, seeing me injured. Gu Xinan paused, as if recalling something, then sneered again, first spreading rumors outside to ruin Bailan's reputation, then playing the victim in front of me. "Su Yi, I really underestimated your tricks as a little nanny. I endured the pain and defended myself. I didn't spread rumors, nor did I intend to ruin Miss Zhang's reputation." Gu Xinan wouldn't listen to my explanation, his face cold. He grabbed my arm and dragged me outside. "Now everyone outside is saying that Bailan is the third party who broke our engagement. Bailan is almost driven to death by all the rumors and gossip. Go, you need to explain to everyone right now that ours was an arranged marriage, and we already annulled it long ago." With bloodied legs, I was forcibly brought to the cultural troupe by Gu Xinan. Jiang Bailan's eyes were red from crying, and upon seeing Gu Xinan, she burst into tears and threw herself into his arms. I was subconsciously pushed away by Gu Xinan, stumbling backward and falling into a cold embrace. "Liang Jikai." I stared blankly at the man who caught me. In my previous life, because I insisted on marrying Gu Xinan, Jiang Bailan married Gu Xinan's arch-nemesis in retaliation. That person is none other than Liang Jikai standing before them. The Gu and Liang families are equally matched in status. Gu Xinan and Liang Jikai have been at odds since childhood. Later, I heard that after Liang Jikai married Jiang Bailan, he constantly abused and tormented her. Unable to bear the humiliation, Jiang Bailan drowned herself in the river. I have no intention of getting involved in the love and hatred of these children from the compound. I stood up, walked to the center of the crowd, and, meeting Gu Xinan's threatening gaze, explained loudly, "I did have a betrothal with Gu Xinan, but it has been annulled. Gu Xinan and Jiang Bailan are in a normal romantic relationship. There's no hanky-panky. I'm not Gu Xinan's fiancée, I'm just their family's nanny." After saying that, I pushed through the crowd and hurried toward the clinic. Gu Xinan's expression softened slightly as he glanced at my bleeding leg, his eyes unconsciously carrying a hint of guilt. "Su Yi, wait, I'll drive you to the clinic." Jiang Bailan suddenly let out a cry and fainted into Gu Xinan's arms. After a moment's hesitation, Gu Xinan picked up Jiang Bailan in his arms. Turning to me, he said, "Wait here. I'll take Bailan back to the dorm first, then come back to take you to the clinic." After saying that, he hurried off, carrying Jiang Bailan. I stared blankly at his back for a while. I secretly envied Jiang Bailan, such unwavering favor, something I've never experienced in 2 lifetimes. I didn't stay put, dragging my numb, pain-filled legs. I turned and walked toward the clinic. Suddenly, a pair of strong hands wrapped around my waist. I gasped, and in an instant, I was lifted off my feet. Liang Jikai's mocking taunt echoed in my ears. "You're almost bled dry, yet you're still stubbornly holding on. Your temper is as stubborn as a mule. No wonder you can't outmaneuver that delicate flower. Jiang Bailan, come on, hop in my car. I'll take you to the clinic." And so, I was held horizontally by Liang Jikai, from the cultural troupe to the clinic, then from the clinic to the family compound. Seeing the scars all over my legs, Commander Gu was furious. Aunt Yuan also had a sullen look on her face, showing her displeasure with Jiang Bailan. Gu Xinan rushed home in a hurry after not finding me at the gate of the cultural troupe. As soon as he entered the door, he was kicked by General Gu. "Suyi has already agreed to cancel the engagement. Why are you still bullying her? Apologize." Perhaps feeling guilty, Gu Xinan came up to me and whispered an apology. After that, he frowned and asked me why I hadn't waited for him at the door. I looked up, my expression cold, and replied with 3 words, "It hurts." A look of guilt appeared on Gu Xinan's handsome face, and then he began to scold me endlessly. "This is partly your fault too. If you had explained things clearly at the supply and marketing cooperative earlier, Bailan wouldn't have been so wronged. This way, tomorrow I'll bring Bailan back for dinner. Make a few of your specialty dishes. When the time comes, apologize to Bailan in person, and this matter will be settled." I let out a wry smile and pointed to my legs wrapped in bandages. "Sorry, the doctor said my leg injury is too severe, and I need to rest in bed for a few days. I'm afraid I won't be able to cook for you tomorrow." Gu Xining's face flushed with embarrassment, and he said awkwardly, "Let's do it in a few days, after your leg injury heals, and I'll bring Bailan back for dinner." "Not even in a few days," I interrupted his monologue. Gu Xining's face darkened. "Suyi, I told you. Breaking off our engagement has nothing to do with Bailan. Can you please stop always targeting her?" I looked up, staring at the man in front of me. So, no matter in my past life or this one, in Gu Xinan's eyes, I was always such a despicable person, petty, calculating, always taking advantage of our engagement to bully his beloved Bai Yuiguang. I let out a bitter laugh and pretended to be at ease as I said to him, "I'm not targeting her. I just want to say that I won't be here in a few days. Probably, I won't have the chance to cook for you again." Gu Xinan was stunned for a moment, then suddenly asked urgently, "Not here. Where are you going? Your parents are gone, and going back to your hometown. What for? Alone and helpless, waiting to be devoured by malicious relatives back home?" I shook my head and said word by word, "Not going back home. I've thought about it, and since we've called off the engagement, it's not right for me to stay at your house anymore. I found a family, and once my leg heals, I'll go work as a nanny there. I probably won't come to your house again in the future." Perhaps my tone was too resolute, and a hint of hurt even appeared on Gu Xinan's face. He awkwardly advised, "If you don't want to apologize, that's fine. At worst, I won't bring Bailan back for dinner. You're new here and don't know anyone. If you go out to work as a nanny and get bullied, what will you do? Stay at home instead. If you're worried about being misunderstood, I can transfer to the southwest with Bailan." I was startled and instinctively turned to look at Aunt Yuan. Sure enough, I heard that my son had voluntarily requested a transfer to the remote southwest to avoid me. Aunt Yuan's smile was barely holding on. A wave of bitterness welled up in my heart. "Gu Xinan, this time, you don't have to avoid me on purpose anymore. I won't come to ruin your love or your perfect family again." At that moment, Liang Jikai suddenly walked in. "Suyi, I prepared the room for you. Let me carry you there now." Gu Xinan looked at him in surprise, then at me, his face alternating between green and red. After a while, he suddenly let out a cold laugh. "I wondered why you suddenly wanted to leave. So you've climbed another high branch, have you, Suyi? I truly underestimated you. Even someone like Liang Jikai could manage to hook up just to stay in the city." I was stunned for a moment, and when I realized what he meant, my face turned red instantly. Liang Jikai also realized what was going on and rushed forward to hit him. I grabbed the corner of his clothes from behind, holding him back firmly. "Mr. Liang, forget it. I no longer wish to stay at the Gu household." Liang Jikai gave Gu Xinan a sinister look. He picked me up horizontally from the bed. Suddenly, Gu Xinan grabbed my arm. "Let her go." Gu Xinyuan glared at us with furious eyes, as if he had been cheated on. Liang Jikai sneered. "Why should I?" Gu Xinyuan, visibly angry, retorted, "Because we were engaged. Liang Jikai chuckled. You said it yourself, it was just an engagement. Isn't the engagement already broken off? Gu Xinan said angrily. Even if the engagement is broken off, Sui's parents have done us a great favor. And I have a responsibility towards her, Liang Jikai said sarcastically. What responsibility? I didn't know that an employer has responsibilities towards their housekeeper. Gu Xinan was momentarily at a loss for words. I sighed and decided to make a clean break with Gu Xinan. Gu Xinan, Mr. Liang is right. We've already called off our engagement. I was just a little country maid hired by your family. You owe me no responsibility. I won't come to your house anymore. And you don't have to transfer to such a remote place in the southwest just to avoid me. Gu Xinyuan, that's it, goodbye. No, it's never seeing you again. I became a nanny at Liang Jikai's house. The Liang family is small. Liang Jikai's father is in the military region of southern province, and his mother went with him to take care of him. Only Liang Jikai, his grandparents, and I were at home. Grandpa Liang and Grandma Liang were very easy to get along with. And I quickly adapted to my life as a nanny in the Liang household. In the morning, I accompanied Grandma Liang to the grocery store to buy meat and vegetables. In the afternoon, I accompanied Grandpa Liang to go fishing. After dinner, I would retreat to my room alone to read and practice calligraphy. Liang Jikai happened to find me practicing calligraphy and chuckled. The next day, he brought back a large box of famous calligraphy rubbings. I thanked him profusely. These famous calligraphy works are not available even at the supply and marketing cooperatives. Liang Jikai's ears turned red, and he waved his hand nonchalantly. Don't mention it. These are just junk that the unit didn't want, and they were originally meant to be sold as scrap paper. I smiled quietly. The next evening, a plate of plum-flavored spare ribs and a plate of gobera were added to the dinner table. Grandma Liang teased with a smile. Oh, why are all the dishes tonight what Jikai loves to eat? I blushed and buried my face in my bowl. Liang Jikai sneakily glanced at me, and his earlobes turned slightly red. After dinner, I mustered up the courage to call out to Liang Jikai, who was about to go upstairs. Mr. Liang, I want to sign up for a night school. I just don't know where to sign up, or if they'll accept someone like me who's from out of town. I blushed with embarrassment. A small-town nanny, overestimating herself, wants to attend night school and take the college entrance exam. Wouldn't Liang Jikai laugh at me? After all, in my previous life, I also mentioned to Gu Xinan that I wanted to continue studying and take the college entrance exam. Back then, I naively believed that as long as I got into college and became a university student, to be worthy of Gu Xinan, who has already become the regiment leader. At that time, Gu Xinan merely gave me a contemptuous glance and said coldly, "You're already in your 20s. Don't tell me you still want to go to middle school. Since you're married, just stay home and take good care of your parents. That's your duty. In this new life, I no longer expect the elusive love. I want to try and see if I can get into college. Can I reach a height where even Gu Xinan must look up to?" Liang Jikai agreed to help me inquire about it. To my surprise, the next day he drove me to register at the night school. I suppressed my excitement, paid the registration fee, and collected a stack of books. On the way back, I walked with a light step, humming a folk song from my hometown. Liang Jikai chuckled softly, his almond-shaped eyes gazing at me tenderly. Just enrolling in a night school, and you're this happy? I nodded vigorously. Happy, Mr. Liang. Thank you, really, thank you so much. It was only when I signed up that I realized the night school was indeed for locals, and you needed a local residency to enroll. To get me enrolled, Liang Jikai must have pulled quite a few strings. Liang Jikai smiled. If you really want to thank me, call me brother and hear it. I blushed and whispered softly, almost inaudibly, Brother Liang. Liang Jikai smiled contentedly. Suddenly, Gu Xinan's trembling voice came from behind. Su Yi, what did you call him? Hearing Gu Xinan's accusing tone, Liang Jikai's face darkened. For some reason, he suddenly raised his arm, draped it over my shoulder, and said affectionately, I'm close with little Yi. She calls me brother. So what? Gu Xinan didn't look at him, just kept staring at me, suppressing his anger as he demanded, Su Yi, after all these years of friendship between our families, you actually call him brother? You've never even called me brother. Impatiently, I cut Gu Xinan off. Captain Gu, I am grateful to General Gu and Aunt Yuan for taking me in and giving me a job. I am grateful to General Gu and Aunt Yuan for taking me in and giving me a job, but it was you who said it yourself. I was just a little nanny you hired from the countryside. I think, as a nanny, I shouldn't be qualified to call the master's brother, right? Gu Xining suddenly seemed to recall the scene of our first meeting. His face turned pale. After a moment of stunned silence, I forced a wry smile and explained, Su Yi, that's not what I meant. I interrupted his feeble explanation once again. Whether it is or isn't doesn't matter anymore, Captain Gu. You wouldn't want our continued association to cause Miss Jiang any misunderstanding, would you? I don't think there's any need for us to keep in touch anymore. If we meet again, let's just act like strangers. It was probably the words, not important, that hurt Gu Xinan's pride. I didn't see him again for a long time after that day. It was just a chance hearing that, like in his previous life, he applied to go to the Southwestern Front. Jiang Bailan also followed the cultural troupe there. In this life, without me in between them, Gu Xinan and Jiang Bailan should soon achieve their happy ending, right? In this life, I also have goals and direction to strive for. My grades at night school improved rapidly, and after half a year, the night school teacher personally wrote me a recommendation letter. With the recommendation letter, I skipped a grade and entered the second year of high school. Grandma Liang felt sorry for me, being an orphan with nowhere to go here, and insisted that I continue to live at home, offering to pay me a nanny's salary. I refused the salary and only helped Grandma Liang with housework and tending to her small vegetable garden in the evenings and on weekends, which essentially covered my rent. When Liang Jikai heard I was going to take the college entrance exam, he brought me a large box of reference materials and mimeographed test papers. Looking at the brand new reference books and the test papers that still smelled of ink, I asked him on purpose, "Are these also waste paper from your unit?" Liang Jikai ruffled the unruly hair on top of my head. "Study hard. If you get in, I'll personally send you to college." During this time, Commander Gu and Aunt Yuan also sent over a thick envelope. Inside was 1,000 yuan. Along with some grain coupons and meat coupons. I returned it exactly as it was. In my previous life, it was my overreach that caused them to be separated from their only son by thousands of miles, unable to reunite for 10 years. In this life, I don't want any further entanglement with the Gu family. Time flies, and before I know it, the college entrance exam day has arrived. I never expected that Gu Xinan would travel a great distance, take leave from work, and come back just to see me off to the exam. However, he still couldn't outpace Liang Jikai. Seeing me with my backpack, getting into Liang Jikai's jeep, in Gu Xinan's eyes, there seemed to be a regret and sorrow I couldn't comprehend. "Su Yi, keep it up," I nodded, not knowing what to say, and could only awkwardly say, "Thank you." Liang Jikai deliberately wanted to provoke him, intentionally speaking loudly, "Little Yi, it's a good thing you broke off the engagement with this guy back then, otherwise I'd still be working as a free nanny in someone else's home, with no chance to take the college entrance exam. You really should thank Captain Gu for not marrying you." Gu Xinan's face turned pale, and he opened his mouth as if to say something. In the end, he couldn't utter a single word, watching helplessly as my former fiancé climbed into the passenger seat of my arch-nemesis's car. As the jeep drove off, I suddenly heard a commotion behind me. Through the rearview mirror, I saw the once elegant and noble Jiang Bailan, now looking like a madwoman. She was clutching Gu Xinan's clothes, scratching and clawing, crying and cursing. But that was Gu Xinan and Jiang Bailan's story, long since no longer my concern. I focused entirely and finished the last exam. Liang Jikai came to pick me up with a bright bouquet of sunflowers. On the way, I learned from him that, originally, Gu Xinan had a chance for promotion during the last battle. Unexpectedly, Jiang Bailan appeared on the battlefield. In an effort to rescue Jiang Bailan, 5 soldiers from Gu Xinan's battalion gave their lives. At the time, although Gu Xinan was not demoted, he was given a severe reprimand, and it was announced throughout the entire army, for the next 5 years, unless he risks his life, there will be no opportunity for promotion. I was astonished. Why did Jiang Bailan have to go to the front line to find him? Liang Jikai chuckled. It said that she found a letter he wrote to another woman in the will Gu Xinan left behind, and she's been insisting on going to find him to get it all cleared up. She insisted on going to ask Gu Xinan for clarification. Who would have thought it would lead to the deaths of 5 soldiers? What a troublemaker. I remained silent. This is the life Gu Xinan chose for himself. I can only respect and wish him well. Half a month later, my university admission notice finally arrived at the family compound. When I heard that I had been admitted to Capital Medical University, Grandpa Liang and Grandma Liang happily sent the guard to buy some sweets to celebrate. Then, they took me around to deliver sweets to every household in the compound. When we arrived at the Gu household, I sensed that Aunt Yuan and Commander Gu's smiles were a bit forced. Upon hearing that I had been admitted to Capital Medical University, Commander Gu gifted me with an imported fountain pen. Auntie Yuan gave me a red envelope. As I left the Gu household, I ran into Gu Xinan and Jiang Bailan. The moment Jiang Bailan saw me, her expression twisted in anger. Su Yi, you've already called off the engagement with Brother Gu, how dare you still cling to him shamelessly? Don't think that just because you got into college, you're good enough for Brother Gu. To be honest with you, I'm already pregnant with Brother Gu's child. Guzanan's face changed, and he forcefully pushed Jiang Bailan's hand away. He looked at me nervously and said, Sui, it's not what she said, it was just an accident with her. Jiang Bailan let out a scream and rushed up to slap Gu Xinan. Gu Xinan, are you still a man? I'm carrying your child. What do you mean by this now? Seeing your beloved Xiaoyi sister now as a college student, do you regret breaking off the engagement with her? Want to dump me and continue being with your little sister Xiaoyi? I'm telling you, dream on. If you dare to abandon me and the child, I'll report you to the military. Gu Xining was so annoyed by her that he couldn't help but reach out and give her a hard push. Jiang Bailan, stop dragging innocence into this. You know very well how you got pregnant. Jiang Bailan was brutally shoved by him and fell down the stairs. Seeing the blood seeping from her hem, Jiang Bailan let out a loud scream, Child, my child. It is said that the child in Jiang Bailan's womb was ultimately unable to be saved. She threatened to report him to the police and have Gu Xinan sent to prison, and Yuan begged desperately, and General Gu tied up Gu Xinan, breaking a leather belt in the process. Gu Xinan was beaten so badly that there wasn't a single undamaged spot on his body, yet he clenched his teeth and refused to agree to marry Jiang Bailan. In the end, Aunt Yuan knelt down to Gu Xinan, forcing him to agree to marry Jiang Bailan. I don't understand what Gu Xinan is resisting. In his previous life, he would rather risk his life on the battlefield and not return home for 10 years, just to be with Jiang Bailan. In this life, I have fulfilled their love, so why does he refuse it now? The day of university opening was soon upon us. Coincidentally, the day of the opening was also the wedding day of Gu Xinan and Jiang Bailan. I didn't attend, but I asked Grandma Liang to pass on a red envelope for me. To my surprise, 2 days later, I saw Gu Xinan with a scruffy beard at the dormitory downstairs. He actually ran away from the wedding. Seeing me walk out of the dormitory, Gu Xinan rushed over without a second thought. Su Yi, you've also been reborn, haven't you? My mind went blank with a loud buzz. Could it be that Gu Xinan has also returned? Seeing my unbelieving eyes, Gu Xinan smiled bitterly and nodded. Yes, I have also returned. It's just that I came back too late. As if something had dawned on him, Gu Xinan's eyes lit up with hope, and he said to me with excitement, It's not too late, Su Yi. I came back during the wedding, and I haven't registered with Jiang Bailan yet. Come with me, let's go to the southwest together. Let's start over for the rest of our lives. Okay. I took a step back and raised my left hand to him. Sorry, I'm already engaged, in this lifetime. I didn't spend 30 years as a nanny in the Gu household. My hands, steeped in the fragrance of books, had been kept fair and slender. On the ring finger of her left hand, a delicate and dazzling diamond ring stung Gu Xinan's eyes. The cold light of the diamond was so intense that it almost blinded Gu Xinan. His eyes were sore and swollen, and he instinctively took 2 steps back. The voice speaking was also in a panic. How could you suddenly get engaged? Aren't you here for college? A jeep suddenly stopped behind us. Liang Jikai walked over to me carrying 2 lunch boxes. I held his hand and spoke to Gu Xinan word by word. Captain Gu, the school doesn't have a rule against getting engaged while in college. On the day Brother Liang brought me to register, he proposed to me. I said yes. After graduation, we'll get married. Gu Xinan suddenly looked up, his eyes wide with fury as he glared at Liang Jikai and threw a fierce punch at him. Liang Jikai dropped the lunchbox he was holding and threw a punch in retaliation. The lunchbox fell to the ground, spilling the braised pork all over. The school security guards rushed over and forcibly separated the two. Seeing the trampled braised pork on the ground, Gu Xinan sneered and said, Liang Jikai, you don't understand Su Yi at all. She loves vegetarian food and hates meat the most. You don't even understand her. How can you think you can make her happy? Liang Jikai laughed loudly. Gu Xinan, it's you who truly doesn't understand Su Yi. Su Yi's favorite dish is braised pork. Gu Xinan shook his head vigorously. Impossible. She never eats meat at our house. Liang Jikai looked at me with pity and said coldly, that's because she didn't dare to. She felt like a burden, eating at your house, and already thought it was annoying enough. She didn't dare to eat more from your family, bought meat, but it's okay, Gu Xinan. You don't care about Su Yi, but I do. If Su Yi marries me, I can let her eat braised pork belly for the rest of her life. Gu Xinan was struck as if by lightning, completely stunned. After that day, Liang Jikai called General Gu. General Gu personally led a group to capture Gu Xinan and bring him back. It was 3 years later when I heard news about Gu Xinan again. That year, I finally graduated from university and decided to return with Liang Jikai to hold our wedding. The family compound still looks the same as always, however. Commander Gu and Aunt Yuan have already moved out of the family compound. It's said that after Gu Xinan and Jiang Bailan got married, Jiang couldn't stand Gu's cold abuse, so she and a dance partner from the cultural troupe were caught in bed together. In a fit of anger, Gu Xinan accidentally inflicted serious injuries on Jiang Bailan. To save Gu Xinan, General Gu sacrificed his lifelong reputation, begged for help everywhere, and paid the Jiang family a substantial sum of money. In the end, Gu Xinan was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The day I married Liang Jikai was the same day Gu Xinan was released from prison. Seeing him standing before me, emaciated, holding a bouquet of lilies, I could hardly believe it was the same man who, in a past life, was a spirited hero, commanding the battlefield with bravado. Seeing me in a pure white wedding dress, smiling radiantly beside Liang Jikai, Gu Xinan's smile was bitter as he offered me the flowers in his hand. I subconsciously took 2 steps back. Guzanin looked at me with hurt eyes. Zayawaizi, I'm not here to cause trouble, I just wanted to see you in your wedding dress. Just once, I vaguely remembered, in my previous life, when I married Guzanin, Aunt Yuan had originally prepared a wedding dress for me, but because Jiang Bailan tearfully said that she had always dreamed of wearing a wedding dress and standing side by side with Gu Xinan then gave the custom-made wedding dress to Jiang Bailan. Later, I appeared at the wedding venue wearing a hastily borrowed white dress, endured mockery and humiliation. Fortunately, in this life, I finally met the right person and wore the wedding dress that was meant only for me. Gu Xinan still insisted on giving me that bouquet of lilies, but Liang Jikai snatched it away and threw it far off. Gu Xinan glared at him angrily. Liang Jikai sneered, Gu Xinan, you keep saying you like Suyi, but you don't know that Suyi is allergic to lily pollen. The one who truly likes lilies should be Jiang Bailan, right? Gu Xinan was visibly shaken, his lips trembling as he looked at me, murmuring, I'm sorry, Suyi, I didn't know. Indeed, only someone who truly loves you would care about every little thing you do, knowing what you like and what you dislike. Gu Xinan's feelings for me are just a sense of unwilling not love. After figuring it out, I smiled gently and comforted, it's okay, we weren't close to begin with. It's normal that you didn't know I'm allergic to lily pollen. The banquet is about to start, let's go in and take a seat. I greeted Gu Xinan with the same practiced ease as I did other guests. The distant and aloof attitude stung Gu Xinan, making his eyes redden. His eyes trembled slightly, his fists clenched tightly, as if he was mired in deep regret and pain, yet I had no time to spare for his sorrows or joys. My wedding is about to begin. As I turned to leave, it seemed like I heard a whisper behind me, Suyi. Actually, back then the cannon fired, and I couldn't hear the rest of Gu Xinuan's unfinished words. It doesn't matter anymore. In this life, he walked the path he wanted to take, and I, too, should go on my own path. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.